What's going on, everybody? Welcome, welcome to another Trigger Mike show. Today is Monday, February 27th, 2023. I appreciate you for tuning into the Lapeef Network. We are here on, let's just cut the BS. Mondays feel like Mondays. Chat, am I right? Mondays just feel like Monday, and today is a Monday ass Monday. But I thank y'all for tuning in with me today, fresh off of the weekend, which is not really a break at all, if you know what I'm talking about. If you are a father of young children, or even, no, if you're a father in general and you're active in the lives of your children, please tell somebody that the weekend is not a break. In fact, we turn up more on the weekends. Our schedule is already laid out for us on the weekdays, but we got more activities on the weekend than we do on the weekdays. Birthday parties, luncheons, then you got laundry. We turn up on the weekend. So I hope everybody had a fun, prosperous weekend with the family. If you're single and you don't like your family, I hope you got some grown things in. Hope you relieve some stress. Hope you had a good time at Sunday Fun Day, got some brunch. Um, yeah, hope you're not broke. Hope you didn't spend all the money from your paycheck because rent's about to be due. It's a short month. The first is on what? Wednesday? It's a short month. Hope you didn't spend all your money at brunch. But welcome again to the Trigger Mike Show. Salute to everybody watching. I just want to give a shout out to all my people on this Monday coming off of their Monday morning commute. You know that one is a little special. People probably going back home from the weekend. You got some commuter traffic to the airport. People won't get out of your way. People act like they forgot how to drive over the weekend. So yeah, you already know how it is. But I appreciate all my US viewers, all our international viewers, Europe, UK, Africa. We got some in Asia, I guess. So shout out to all of you here, sending you love, and let's get prepared for another banger on the Trigger Mike Show. We appreciate you for tuning in. All right, so what I want you to do right now, for those of you who are notorious, oh yeah, Enos, Canada again. Shout out to Canada. I said, okay, I'm gonna start saying North America because I don't want to shout out Canada. But dang, Enos, you done threw me off. What was I about to say? Anyway, shout out to everybody coming through the Trigger Mike Show. Make sure you like the video. Go down there. Some of y'all are notorious for not doing this. Go down to the corner and like the video. That is a like for the YouTube algorithm. It helps YouTube push us out to more viewers, more of your friends, more people so they know what you're watching and what you're engaging with this morning. Whether you're a house mom or a house dad, homeschooling, whether are at work and you slap those earbuds in and you want to slap those earbuds in, all right? It can get a bit contentious as we've seen on the Trigger Mike Show, but we're going to try to keep it respectful, give you meaningful, substantive dialogue all day long. Okay, but slap those earbuds in for your own protection. Nothing on YouTube is safe for work. Don't let anyone lie to you. If we let people up on this panel, it can go left at any second, as y'all know. All right, so who I got in the chat today? Daryl Brown, what's going on, my man? Welcome. Rocco, what's up? Deacon Dave, welcome. Hack, what's going on? My man Jeffrey Woodland, always in the building. Natural Born Winner, what's up? Isaiah Jr., what's going on? Enas from Canada. She wants everybody to know that she's out here repping for them communist Canadians that want to take everybody's guns. I won't even go to Canada for that reason right there. My man, Mr. He Said, is in the building. Y'all check out his channel as well. My man is in the building. Miss Jill, how you doing? How you doing, Sugarfoot? Always faithful in here showing love. Lacey, what's going on? Marquise Keys, what's up? Chris, my man, I don't even got to tell you. Maybe he's off. Chris is probably at work. You've never seen anybody at work more than you've seen Christopher J. My man, Christopher J. When you see this symbol right here, just know this man is at work. I don't know if he's single or not, but ladies, that's the man you need to get with right there. You want a working man, you better want a busy one too. He got money. Let me hold something, Christopher. That man always at work. Free Zone Lou, what's going on? All right. This morning on the Trigger Mike Show, we're going to talk about a topic that I feel like should be contentious, but we're going to try to come at it from a different angle as we tend to do on the Trigger Mike Show. All right. So most of you have read the thumbnail already. The title of today's show and the topic at hand is Divorce is Destruction. Shout out to my wife. This one is kind of her idea. So, you know, she wanted to talk about this particular topic. We talk about it all the time, and it's something that's very prevalent here in the US and other Western cultures, right? So naturally, when we talk about divorce and you've been on YouTube and in other spaces, people want to talk about this in form of all the statistics and all of that. We all know, if you frequent YouTube, if you're on these platforms enough, by now you all know the statistics associated with divorce. I'm not going to beat that dead horse today. You know the statistics associated with it, and we'll glance over some, maybe not, but y'all know. Y'all have heard all the stuff, right? So instead of coming at it from that angle, I'm going to begin the conversation about how our society has encouraged and enabled divorce. All right? We're also going to talk about the destructive after effects of divorce. Okay? Ms. Jill, don't even try it. Don't even try it. She is not talking about it. But there is no one married couple on earth, well, I'm sorry, in the US rather, that does not have friends or, people that are divorced. And I'm going to tell you, here's actually the funny twist to it, Ms. Jill. Divorce comes up in all kind of ways, in all types of discussions. It even comes up when the person gets remarried. That's where this conversation kind of stemmed from. All right. The person gets remarried. You go to a wedding. You go to the wedding of the person that got divorced, and you like, damn, I wonder if their ex regrets this because she just had to come pick up the kids so he could get married. These conversations come out in all different type of ways. Imagine having to imagine divorcing someone, then having to pick up your kids from their wedding, right? I just wonder how somebody would feel doing that. Like, hey, all right, kids ready to be picked up. Come pick them up so I can enjoy my new wife. I'm telling you, this stuff is these conversations come up in a bunch of ways. So naturally, we know in the US, in this particular day and age, in this space that we live in, women are incentivized to divorce their men. They're actually incentivized to it. Now, instead of me just putting this topic out there or putting that stuff out there, I decided to ask a bunch of colleagues. Of course, I got some women from the US, but I asked some of my acquaintances and family from other countries and women that are here that live in other countries. All right. So those countries, I got someone from Nigeria, of course, family and family friends, Ghana, Pakistan, Iran, Lebanon, and Venezuela, and a few more that I can't remember. But yeah, I asked a bunch of women, do you think that the women in the US are incentivized to divorce their men? And I also got them to dialogue with me about why divorce is destruction in our society and theirs too. What does divorce mean to them in their particular culture? And of course, I know this is America, right? But we once had that same view. That's the point I'm trying to hit this from. All right. So, how is divorce viewed around the world and even in some cultures and groups here in the US? The way that we've traditionally done it. So, the question we're about to ask and answer is, how is divorce viewed around the world and in some groups here in the US that still practice marriage at a high rate? Ladies and gentlemen, it should come as no surprise to you Divorce is a disgrace. It's a disgrace. From the intel, I don't know why I want to, I'm prior military. I just had to use that word. From the intel that I gathered, divorce is still viewed around the world by men and women alike, by other cultures, and even cultures here in the US. Even though it's incentivized, it is still viewed as a disgrace. So let me make a personal statement about that and how I feel about it. Not only do I recognize divorce as a disgrace, not only do I recognize it as that, I know for a fact that even though I live in this country and I got married in this country, my parents won't just accept any excuse for me leaving my wife or the mother of my children. They will not accept. I'm sorry, from me, they won't accept anything. Divorce is a disgrace. Y'all have heard me say on more than one occasion that things need to be black and white. Too many Americans are living in the gray, and that's why we have so much of this freedom culture going on. Too many of you are choosing to live in the gray, and there are consequences for that. And I don't believe that many people are behaving like they're aware of those consequences. Divorce is a disgrace. If I leave my wife, in fact, if she leaves me, maybe that's a better example because I'm not leaving. I'm not leaving. I can't. As I just told you, I'm not leaving. I'm incentivized to make things work. That's what I'm trying to get y'all to understand with this whole subject matter right here. I'm trying to incentivize you to make this work. I'm incentivized to make this work because I understand that divorce in my culture is a disgrace, as it used to be in American culture, as it used to be in the black community. That's a better. The most married people in this country at one point in time were black American people. Divorce was a disgrace. So your history in this country, it's not divorce, it's not family separation, it is family unity. These people used to also believe that divorce was a disgrace. I also want to tell you this, ladies and gentlemen. The reason why we believe it is a disgrace, and those of you who have heard it that are kind of triggered by what I just said, you're only thinking about it in relation to you, the individual person. The reason cultures around the world and in America believe divorce is a disgrace because plain and simply, you destroyed your family. That is it. It has nothing to do with you, the individual person. They look at it as you destroyed your family. That's it. If I leave my wife or I just show up at my parents' house one day and say, I need to stay here for a few months, I'm tripping, she tripping. First off, I'm 36 years old. I can't imagine my father beating me with a belt at this age, but I'm not going to rule it out. He going to go nuts on me. He's not even going to want to talk because we don't do that in this family. We don't do that in this culture. Men don't abandon their responsibility. It's one thing to leave your wife, but if that's also accompanied with leaving your children, there's no talk about it. Take your ass back to that house. You got a responsibility. That's what I'm trying to teach y'all here. You have a responsibility. Take yourself out of the equation. I'm forcing you to make this work. Why do I feel like divorce is a disgrace? And why do cultures feel like you destroyed your family in the process? The nucleus of any community is the structure of family. The nucleus of any community structure is family. Let me make that a bit more clear to you. When you look up the definition for community, it usually says, I believe in the Merriam-Webster's dictionary, the definition for community is a group of individuals. I will challenge, I'm bold enough to do so. I will challenge Merriam-Webster, Webster's dictionary. That is no longer the definition, and it is contextually incorrect. The context of that is incorrect. A community is a group of families. Even if you want to tone it down a little bit, it is a group of groups, a family of families. There is no community without the nuclear family. I live in a neighborhood of 6,800 homes. Huge, excellent community. They have events for children, events for parents, Father's night out, mom's poker night, dad's poker night, couples casino night, all of this stuff put on by the HOA. Do you think this stuff is for single people? We are bonded to each other through our families. A community is a group of families. When you divorce, you destroy your family. Think about it that way. It's not about you or your, hold up, wait for it, happiness. Don't destroy your family. That should give you pause. That should make you think twice about it. Never in the history of life did I expect that divorce attorneys, if we got them all on the show, TLA and all these people, I can almost guarantee you that he will say when a women divorce, they cite their happiness or something making them unhappy at least half the time. I cannot begin to talk about my happiness if the end result is me destroying my family. There is no happiness at the end of that. This is a critical factor in why men don't leave relationships. Ladies, I know we've materialized all these fake concepts about why men don't leave, and they actually left the relationship, just not physically. They left the relationship, but they just don't file papers. Men don't leave because our logic tells us it is not a good decision to make my children pay or my family pay for my unhappiness. I will wait it out. Let's see if things get better. I'm not going to destroy their chance at life. I'm not going to destroy their emotional makeup and well-being for my happiness. It just doesn't make sense. Fathers, men in general, if you think you can stick it out in a marriage for your children, put a 1 in the chat. Shit, I'm Trigger Mike, and I'm going to put a 1 in the chat. It's my damn show, and I'm going to put 10 ones in the chat. I will wait it out. It'll get better. We go through things sometimes. But I don't have a chance at being happy knowing that I destroyed my family. Ladies, I'm giving you insight into the mind of men. I will wait it out. I will wait for you to stop tripping. I will wait for this phase of our marriage to be over so we can continue into a new phase. It could be years. But it doesn't make sense for me to destroy my family over my happiness. I want y'all to think about that. And I know most men violate that principle. I understand. Most men, I'm sorry. No, I said most. Cancel that. Some men violate. Some men violate that. I understand that. But it's nowhere near most men. It is not nowhere near most men. As we know, the men don't leave. Men don't tend to leave relationships. All right, so let's continue. I got all these ones in the chat. These ladies, this is the most ones I've ever seen. These men are letting you know our logic when it comes to our family is sound. It doesn't make sense to us. We're not leaving. All right. With a divorce, you destroyed your family. So, let me tell you all the ways that divorce is destruction and why it cannot be viewed as anything less. Average people do not divorce into financial prosperity. You divorce into financial ruin. My man Chicago Rilla, right on time. It's cheaper to keep her. This is just a play on words. Y'all think it's men guarding their assets. When we married your ass, we didn't have any. To keep up this life in America, we struggle to keep assets. When we say it's cheaper to keep her, there's more involved in that explanation. You don't divorce into financial prosperity. You divorce into financial ruin. Guess what I found out? One of the key reasons people have to file bankruptcy for the first time is because of divorce. Makes sense, doesn't it? It just makes sense, doesn't it? Your happiness caused you financial ruin. You didn't think that all the way through, did you? Divorce is destruction. If you think about it this way, when you divorce, you've likely already screwed your kid's life up. All right? Now you got to go screw your credit up too? How you going to be newly single with a 400 credit score? That's a bad look. Some of y'all need new furniture. That's a bad look. You done screw your kid's life up and your credit. Way to go. Clap for yourself. Come on, y'all. Y'all got to think about this stuff. Y'all pulled the trigger too early. And some of y'all, I know, it's not your fault. I know that. I know. Some of your partners gave up. But you can go ahead and send them a text right now and just say, Trigger Mike said you're an idiot, and then send them the link to this broadcast. Not you. Say, it's not me. Trigger Mike said you an idiot. Send them the link to this broadcast. And then send the word idiot after that again. And say, Trigger Mike said it, not you. All right. The removal of a parent from the home decreases the effectiveness and efficiency of each individual parent. This is Trigger Mike's. I didn't need to look up nothing for this. Let me tell you why I said this. As a father, I can tell that I'm only this effective because of my proximity to my children. I fancy myself an extremely effective father. I watch and take cues from my children as I'm talking to them. They see me morning, after school. Sometimes I bathe them and put them to bed. The proximity to my children is why I'm so effective as a father. It is extremely hard to help as a parent without proximity to your children. When you leave your husband, ladies, are you listening? When you leave your husband, many of you are on this network, other networks, Fight Club, all these other shows complaining that your old man, your baby's father, doesn't help you enough. I can't really help you on your terms. You took away my proximity to my children. Divorce is destruction. Do you get it now? Lack of marriage, lack of commitment, making stupid decisions based on your happiness. You took away the proximity. You took away your own help. The efficiency is gone. Mothers are stressed because most of you have custodial custody, right? You're the custodial parent of your children. That's why you're always stressed. My wife and I are a team. It's a team effort. We work in unison and in tandem so well that if she calls at a certain time, I already know what it's about. Put a 1 in the chat if you work well with your partner and you know what they're calling for. If I'm on this show too long, she'll say, "Are you set to get the baby? You know, Kumon starts at 3:30. Are we going to gymnastics after? Do you want me to go get our boy?" I know why she's calling, because we make a great team. You took away your ability to be effective and efficient by leaving. I could never do that to my children. I could never do it. You divorce into financial ruin. That money that I need to go get a new townhome, go get a new apartment somewhere, that could be my children's activities right there. In fact, nobody's even there to take them. I can't make it across town that fast. Do you see what you've done to the effectiveness and the efficiency of your household if you don't do your best to keep it together? Divorce is destruction. You destroy your own life, your own credit, not to mention what's more important, your children's lives. The removal of a parent from the home destroys and decreases the efficiency and effectiveness of each individual parent. Listen, there is a universal understanding that you have to live for your children. I didn't preface it this way, but I'm going to say it now. It's easier to let someone off the hook. It's easier to let someone off the hook when y'all don't have kids. I'm actually not even gonna, I don't think society really gives you a bad rap that much when you divorce someone and y'all don't have kids. But there is a universal understanding, worldwide, global understanding, that once you do have children, you live for your kids. Your purpose in life has been adapted. Every decision you make must have them in front, not in back. Every decision you make puts them in front. On television, if somebody is about to die or somebody has a gun to their head, what do they say? "No, man, don't shoot. I got kids. No, please, I got kids." That's probably improv, because everybody knows you're supposed to live and be available for your children. I said it the other day. 2 parents is barely enough. And you wonder why baby mama's out here stressed. You wonder why y'all can't get along with nobody. You wonder why you got a hairpin trigger for an attitude. You're stressed because you're ineffective and inefficient as you once were when he was around. There's no way. There's no way to make up for it. The loss of an extra body in any sense will make you less effective. This is why, let me tell you something. For all my people that do this correctly, you deserve your flowers. And I want you to understand where I'm coming from with this. When people do things the right way, when you get married and you have children and you work things out for them, these are the most celebrated people in history. The most celebrated people in history are the husband/father and the wife/mother. Tell me if I'm lying. There will be an asterisk put by your success story if you don't have certain circumstances behind it. Even when you achieve something as a single woman, your autobiography ain't gonna be that long. But when you achieve that same thing as a wife and a mom, everybody can predict what you went through and still succeeded. Damn, she did that with all them kids? Y'all know I'm telling the truth. That means you held it down at home and at work and went through the motions in your marriage and held it down again and continue to progress and continue to get promoted. The most celebrated people in history are husbands slash fathers and wives slash mothers, because they know what it took. They know all you've been through and you didn't quit. You lived for those children. People smile the hardest for you. They smile the hardest when they see your life story, when they see those Christmas pictures. You are the most exalted group of people in history. I applaud you. No lie. I applaud you. Listen, divorce is destruction. Let me tell you a story. I often told you, you've heard me say this story at other times and on other networks. I don't know if that link is dropped. Let me drop this link so y'all can come chat with me. Give me 1 second, y'all. I'll come chat with your boy. When I was about 12, up until like 14 years old, I had it was one of the greatest times of my life. I was doing BMX. I was a total white boy, y'all. I was nice with the skateboard, kick flips. Then I moved to BMX. Yo, I was nice with it. All right. So I had all these friends that wanted to learn and wanted to be my friend and learn all my skills and stuff. And one of the things that I had picked up on is that out of that group of 5 friends that I had, I was the only one with an intact family. Hell yeah, Trey. I was on that Dave Mirra, Ryan Nyquist energy. Hell yeah. As a matter of fact, I asked my dad to get me Dave Mirra's bike. He was either a Haro or a GT sponsored by them. This dude laughed in my face when he saw the price tag on that bike. I still remember it like it was yesterday. It was in a magazine. You remember those magazines we used to get? He laughed in my face. It was like a $600 bike. Hey, for a bike? No. That dude went and got me a mongoose. If y'all remember those mongoose, they still got mongoose. Trey, you derailing me, man. Don't get me started on that. We'll talk offline about that. But look back to this story. Out of that group of 5 friends, I was the only one with an intact family. And where I'm going with this is that you can scar your children for life through your divorce. A lot of people do not understand this. All of these boys that I'm talking about, they had periods where they would be extremely despondent and depressed, and they wouldn't want to come outside. And most of it was related to a recent visit with their dad. And it's not even that they didn't have fun with their dad. Sometimes divorced dads overcompensate. Divorced moms overcompensate for their children. So I was even jealous. They were going to Disneyland with the grandparents. The dad was taking them to all these extravagant places, but they would still come back depressed. And I realized one common thing over the years. When their dad started a new family and got a new girlfriend, it was like a stake through the heart of that child, because the family he originated from, that was a symbol of its actual death. If you've seen that before, put a 1 in the chat. They noticed that they were pining away like, Dad, please fix this with Mom. Please just fix it. I know we moved out. I know we live somewhere different, but you're going to fix it, right? And when he got in a new relationship, that was the end of their new family. I'm sorry, of their old original family that they wanted back and intact. Every single friend that I had went through that. All newly divorced parents. Listen, another point that I want to make, and this is for the ladies. I'm going to be honest with you. This is for the ladies. Divorce makes you a questionable choice. Not that you are actually questionable. Not that we think you're questionable. But people want to know why you left or why you got left. That information is valuable. Women will suffer from this burden far worse than men ever can. Like I told you, very first episode, women are made of hope. They will marry a man who's 9 times divorced. He will find a woman to marry. But a woman, you struggle and will struggle. In today's market, oh my God, you will struggle. People want to know why you left or why you got left. It makes you a questionable choice. Unfortunately. My thoughts and considerations on this. Ladies and gentlemen, let me give you more insight into my thinking. How do people make it work? I don't know. I've been married 4.5 years. All right. My whole family is married. But let me tell you something that I truly believe. And this is how I think many people got it done. Divorce is not an option. So don't make it one. Don't make it an option. Never throw it in your spouse's face. It's just not an option. Incentivize yourself to stay and work it out. I know some of you are going to throw the abuse word around. Y'all love to do that for some reason. Like that's who the hell I'm talking about. It's not. But remember, I said make these things black and white. The situations in the gray will take care of themselves. The men that love you will come remove you from that situation if it's bad enough, if you're willing to go and be removed. So we're not going to talk about the outliers because it's not the norm. If you are suffering such chronic abuse, or if you aren't suffering chronic abuse, there isn't really a good enough reason to leave. Did y'all hear me? This is the way people look at it the world over that do marriage successfully. If you aren't suffering chronic abuse, there isn't a good enough reason to leave. You destroyed your family for nothing, basically. Let me tell you why I believe that wholeheartedly. Almost nothing equates to the damage that divorce will do to your life and the lives of your children. Nothing, almost nothing equates unless that person is harming those children and you. Nothing equates to the harm that you're doing to yourself, your credit, the outlook of your future partnerships and relationships, your children, their behavioral status, their grades in school. Nothing equates. Because of your happiness, nothing equates. Tia Mowry don't even know what she just did to her own kids. She didn't even mention the children in her rants and monologues. Well, my happiness, and it's time to do something for me. She's basically finding a bunch of ways to tell you her ex-husband did nothing wrong. And it's all about her. Nothing equates. She's going to feel sorry when she realizes what this did to her children and why they will resent her secretly or openly for the rest of her life by what she did. She broke up the original intact family of those children. They are forever. A part of them died when she did that. She can never get it back. Even their own father cannot restore it unless he can get back with her. Yeah, people don't realize that. You can't just go create something somewhere and tell them this is our family now. They want their dad, not this guy. If their dad was a good guy, trust me, ladies, y'all leave most of the time. That's why I'm addressing you. Y'all leave most of the time. That's why I'm talking to you. The kids want their dad. Unless he was doing something that was hurting them or he doesn't want anything to do with them, these kids want their dad. They are going to resent you when they learn what you did and why you did it. They'll be able to piece things together. Kids don't stay kids forever. They won't want to take care of you when you are older. That is instilled in them through the family structure. You broke up that family. There are things you shouldn't even be able to ask them for the rest of your life because you did that to them. All right. A few more. Let me put the link back in the chat. A few more points, and then I'm done. Ladies and gentlemen, there is no such thing as a happy marriage. That is my stance on this. There is no such thing as a happy marriage. What you are looking for, what you out here trying to tell people your list, there is no such thing as a happy marriage. Only the marriage you make happy. You choose that person every day, despite what they did the previous day. There is no such thing as a happy marriage. We happy all the time. There is no such thing. That person will get on your nerves. They will test you. They will bring things out of you did not even know were there. They are there with you every single day to push buttons no one else knew existed. But through all of that, the character of the person you become by staying glued to the promise you made to that person, through the lives you made with that person, will turn you into something that could get into the kingdom of God. You didn't know you were that strong until you stayed and obeyed what God had for you, and you stayed with that spouse. There is no such thing as a happy marriage. You make it happy by the choice you make every single day. I choose you today and every day after. Period. It is better. It is better, in my opinion, to repair what's broken than start something new. Let me tell you why. It is better to repair what's broken than start something new. Every time something breaks and you want a new shiny version of it, you just created a bad habit within yourself. Every single time. Women, how many women do you know are on their third, their fourth marriage? This is what I'm talking about. They feel like something as substantive as a husband can just be easily replaced. I like to fix broken things. A broken leg heals back stronger. The writing's been on the wall since the beginning of time. Nurture it correctly. The healing will be stronger than what was present before. Mr. Rich, good morning to you, sir.
Morning. Good morning. If you hear some noise back there, there's some work outside, so I'm going to be on mute.
No worries, no worries. What you got on the topic in general, good sir?
That's a good topic. I mean, it's a great topic, by the way. I'm gonna adjust this a little bit, but anyhow, yeah, it's a great topic. Once my kids started coming, I mean, even before that, man, divorce was off the table. I didn't even think about that. When I got married, I didn't have a prenup or anything like that. I pretty much started with nothing. So everything I built, I built with my wife. But once the kids started coming, there was no question I'm not getting divorced. I mean, I agree with you. Happiness had nothing to do with it. I just was so blessed that my wife and my relationship just worked well. Matter of fact, I did something just recently on my page talking about case for marriage, the ties that bind, and I started from my grandparents who were born in 1900s, early 1900s. So we got through 6 generations because I keep the family tree. The first 3 generations from the greatest generation, which they were in, then their kids were silent generation. Then me, I'm a baby boomer. 32 of us were born, 27 are married. And it created a whole family safety net that still exists today, even though people started moving on. 2 of my uncles and aunts are still alive. And out of the 21 of us, we still have 16 people still alive. Most everybody married. And everybody underneath that, Gen X, millennials, and Gen Z, they rely on that structure and to build their families on. So and the Gen X family, out of 49 people born, I mean of descendants, only 10 are married. So that goes with society, right? Just it's impacting our family. So it's on my page. I'll put a link in there. People should look at it. Hey, you know what? I might get good at thumbnails. Maybe sooner or later I'll be good at everything else. Anyway, that's my little piece.
Yes, sir. So I want to ask you a question because just like you, and the craziest thing about it, I don't even have to trace my family tree. Everybody's married except the American. I'm sorry, except 3 of the Americans. Everybody over the age of 25, if they're in this
You know,
family, is married. Whether it's here, UK, Nigeria,
I hear
everybody.
you. That makes sense, right?
So I want to ask you, why do modern couples rush to divorce if they are married?
Well, it's easier. One, I don't think they vet why they got married in the first place. A lot of people get married on that fairy tale stuff, I'm in love and all that, and all the mushy stuff. But if you ask people and new couples, remember they used to ask people to go to marriage counseling? And I don't know about the counselors. I didn't do that myself, but a lot of people don't talk to each other about anything that has substance to it. We're good in bed together. We like having fun together. But all the stuff that you have to be able to buffer in terms of the challenges of life, not enough people actually talk about those things beforehand. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's part of it. And so it's so easy for them to just break up, and then social media and all that stuff where people think there's something better on the other side. And the Tia Mowry situation is, even though it's horrible for her kids, it's a great case study for what not to do when something like happiness comes in, because she's acting a fool right now, and you could tell that this thing is killing her. Right? I mean, it was 6 months and she's already unhappy again. Now, if I'm a high value man, I would never. I might smash, but I would never think about making her my wife. Never, ever. You know.
This is gonna sound mean, but I don't. There was somebody that said that it was Chris Rock. It was Chris Rock that said it. He said some of y'all need to stay with your partner because you don't realize how ugly you are. I wouldn't smash her. I don't think. I don't
I
think
hear
she
you.
realized she's not Melanie anymore.
No,
She is not
that's
Melanie from the game anymore.
that's
She ain't
true.
got money. A dude is more likely, in my opinion, to use her than to want
Right.
her for the type of character of woman she is and the way she looks. I have no idea. And see, this is the thing, we're speculating on what's going on with her relationship, but she made the one cardinal mistake that you shouldn't make. She
What's
went
that?
and came out and tried to talk and
Yeah.
and you know create the narrative. Because one thing that we do know is that women have no problem airing out a man's dirty laundry when he did something wrong.
I
Hey,
see.
So
salute
she
to you,
didn't do that.
brothers.
Hey, good
What's
morning.
going on, Israel?
Good
How
afternoon, I
y'all,
should say.
how y'all doing, man? Thank you for coming through last night, Trigger Mike, man. I appreciate you, man.
No doubt, no doubt. Hey, if y'all get a chance, go check out my man Israel Mills channel. Give him a subscribe, and also it's his birthday. If you want to send him a cash app and you like what he's saying, I send him a 50 ball.
Yeah, you did, man. I appreciate that. And it is my birthday, man. Thank you. Hey, listen, even when she was Melanie on the game, she wasn't Melanie. She wasn't Melanie. You know what I'm saying? She was never that girl, right? You
Yeah.
know, but what I would say is that definitely divorce are destruction, and it is destructive to the community. To your point, man, I want to salute you and your family. I've I've never been around people whose whole family, minus a couple of people, have been married. Most of the people that I know and I've been around, most of their whole family has never been married, and it's just a couple of people, a few people who are actually married. So that's the thing too. Like marriage in a lot of Western society is not necessarily preached or pushed upon people. So a lot of times they don't even see marriage as necessarily an option. You know what I mean? We all hear the stories of the people who've been dating for 20 years and they get married after 20 years of shacking up and dating, and then 2 years later they get divorced and never want to speak to each other again. We hear
Yep.
these stories in the neighborhoods and so forth and so on. We hear the urban myths of the people who life is so much grander and so much great when they're just living together and they don't have that piece of paper. So, especially depending on the city or where you're from.
Yeah, before you go on, Israel, this is what I tell people who don't want to get married, but they're shacking up. You might not want a marriage license, but you still need paper. I mean, especially if you have assets, you're living together, boyfriend and girlfriend. If one gets sick, you might not even be able to see them in the hospital if you're not a relative. If you
Amen.
have a business, where does the business go? And more important is if you have children and you don't declare what happens to that kid if both of you get hurt or die, then the grandparents will be battling over that kid.
Oh yeah.
And so you got to set a lot of stuff in motion that just getting married kind of takes precedence over because it puts structure to that. So you got to think about wills, you got to think about beneficiaries, you got to think about all that shit.
Yeah.
You
And,
know,
and to
people
your
have
point,
to
to that point, I actually know some people very personally who their guy just died and they were together. They have two kids, a boy and a girl, and they were together maybe 25 years or something like that. And they were living together. And I thought they were married, but they actually weren't married on paper. And the guy died early, prematurely. And the young girl's a teenager, and the son is almost a teenager. And do you know that the mother didn't get anything?
That's right.
Uh, she didn't get, and the dude was in the military. She wasn't even entitled to any of his military benefits, any of the benefits. And I think even the children, because of that, weren't even entitled to anything. And so they had to do something to try to even bury the dude. And it was really unfortunate. But yeah, you're absolutely right.
Exactly, man.
Man, y'all are, I mean, I can't even tell you the splitting headache that I get when people say marriage is just a piece of paper. I can't even tell you, like, literally, I just be sitting around here. I don't even have to go into the details because when I had gotten right when my daughter was born, I had accepted a new job. Never, obviously, that was my first child. To look at the amount of paperwork I had to do to designate my accidental death and dismemberment, my life insurance stuff that I had through them, my military benefits, like just putting her on all that stuff, I was just like, wow. So this is what this institution is for, to designate first beneficiary, second beneficiary. This is why people, in fact, families get torn apart when somebody dies, fighting over that stuff. So, just to say marriage is a piece of paper, I don't even think people have begun the steps to understand just how much drama you can create if you don't designate certain things just easily straight to your wife, straight to your children. Because the family that you think, oh, they wouldn't do that to my kids or they wouldn't petition for this or that, they will. Who we got? Ken Sean, what's going on? Good morning.
Hey, how y'all doing, man? Appreciate the invite.
Good morning.
Yeah, Trigger Mike. This. A lot of people want to do what they want to do in 2023, and I think Dr. Amos Williams said that you know the kids, the kids of today, and the millennials and the Gen X and all of this and that. They have voted and fought in Congress for pronouns, the right to protest, the right to be equal with a group that has nothing to do with truth or God. And what has happened is everyone wants to do what they want to do. I heard the gentleman say people live better lives, happier lives without the paper, as though you're not sinning and fornicating even more. And this is the problem right here. We want the benefits of Christianity or God when it suits us, yet we live in the West. And so we're going to attach ourselves to Sodom and Gomorrah. And what happens is we don't understand anything about marriage. Because when I think about marriage, I think about her using me and I think about me using her. I think about an IRA. I think about a Roth IRA, RRA. I think about the 403b1, 401k. I think about generational wealth. Some people don't even know about what a Roth IRA is, right? I think about substantially getting generational wealth, right? Tax breaks, right? Things that we can qualify ourselves so we can get benefits. All right. So, and then my future wife, whoever that will be, she will fall into place with that. You spoke about the beneficiary. See, men want the cake and they want to eat it too. They want to have options, and then when they feel like, oh, I can still be 70. I'm not a woman, but I can still be 70 and single. It doesn't just work like that. And that's why you would always be lonely, because your life is not complete, because you didn't get your purpose together and you have no idea what marriage is. You're only seeing it on TV, and you're hearing all of the myths, but they call the myths, right? When it's a true partnership between you and God and your family. And, that's my take.
Yes, sir. Appreciate that. And just like you said, a lot of people don't know about Roth IRAs. I see people in the chat saying, "Well, put things in a trust." The funny thing about these conversations that ask how many people know anything about a trust or a probate court. They don't know. They're not educated on that stuff. But yet we'll say something like marriage is a piece of paper. It's crazy. Mr. Williams, good morning to you. Well, good afternoon, Rep.
Yeah, good afternoon, fellas. But I wanted to say about when people speak on marriage, it's like a lot of people already be in a negative space, because the first thing you hear is about prenups and, oh, I'm not gonna get married if I don't got a prenup because
Yep.
she could take my money. It's like I don't even think negativity like that. Like I don't know how people mind just be stuck on a negative side on what could happen. Like I'm aware of what could happen, but that's not where my mind at when I'm planning on getting married to. Well, when I got married to my lady, like I wasn't that wasn't on my mind. I'm thinking about like positive stuff and where we could be at 5-10 years from now without kids. You feel me? So it's like in the like Ken Sean said, like a lot of people don't even know about marriage. Like we get out here, we date and we think we know it all. A lot of people they not really trying to hear nothing, and then they go through trial and error over and over again. And even if you give them some game on how to move with somebody, they still not gonna take that. They gonna do the opposite every time. So it's like for the ones that do want to learn and get an understanding on what it is with being with somebody, then they soak that game up. For whoever that don't want it, they just gonna continue to crash out and have excuses why they crashing out, or use celebrities as their blueprint on why they shouldn't get married or why they wouldn't. It's like I can't really judge any celebrity or anyone else who got a divorce or anything, because I wasn't in their household. So I really don't know what was going on a daily basis. And by me being with my woman for a long time, I understand that there's a lot that goes on. And if you're not really there putting your foot down and trying to like maintain what's going on and like diffuse any issues that's going on, like you're going to have problems. But I know that everything is not just pieces and cream, but you know, a lot of men just really need to stand up and be a man like they said he is. But you know, that ain't the case.
Indeed. CEO, good afternoon, bro.
All right. Good morning. Good afternoon.
What you got on the topic so far?
Like I said, I just got out of a relationship that lasted about 7 years, which is about the longest relationship I've ever been in. There was no ring on the finger, but to me, like, you know what I'm saying, especially listening to other brothers about their marriage and just marriage in general in the United States, it's like, I can't tell how what I was in wasn't something like a marriage or just as, sufficient as a marriage, because, all the investment, the time, children, resources, sharing life and everything. And coming out of that, what I realized, or at least my particular perspective at this moment, is I believe that you shouldn't get married until the couple really starts to concern themselves with establishing legacy. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you're just coming together and you guys like each other and stuff, I think you should remain girlfriend and boyfriend. I think marriage should be restricted to a couple, a boyfriend and girlfriend who have decided that they want to take it to the next level and actually create something for the future. If it's not future based, if it's not about creating legacy, if it's not, the marriage is not like founded in what's going to be left of us when we die, I think it should be restricted to boyfriend and girlfriend, and it should stay there. Like, marriage should be restricted to legacy.
So I was about to ask him. So do you feel like you should bring kids into that situation if you're not married to that woman? You just girlfriend and boyfriend?
The kids are that legacy, the future. I don't believe kids should be brought in until, like I said, until it's a real deal. Once that comes in, the kids and involved, that's why I say the marriage is fucked up, because once the kids are there, it's not about you or her. It's not about neither one of y'all's happiness. Once the kids are brought in, it's about them. You know what I'm saying? So stay boyfriend and girlfriend, and don't have no kids until you guys come together and y'all got a bond and a relationship as something so serious that you like, we want to preserve this and start to work on what this is going to look like when we're dead. Like, and if y'all ain't about that, stay away from that marriage shit.
You know, I don't disagree with that. I don't know if you wanted to talk first, Trigger Mike. The only caveat I would add is that if you're not serious with your woman, and sometimes she wants to be a wife and a mother, and you don't want to do it, you got to let her go, because her clock is going to run out.
Right.
And men will waste a woman's clock, believe me, until they find what they want. So you got to be fair with her. If you're not going to get serious and have those discussions and that planning, like you said, CEO, you got to let her go, because she will stay with you. She will. I mean, once a woman latches on, she will stay. But her clock is running out, and you got more time.
Right. Yeah. I done seen men stay with women and get them pregnant, and they know that she wasn't a good fit for them. So it's like, oh, you don't want to go nowhere. You want to keep it to yourself and things like that. And you bring kids into a toxic situation, like that ain't no good for the kids. But they at that moment, they being selfish. They not thinking about the kids. They thinking about what they want.
Yeah.
Well,
Go ahead, Israel.
I just wanted to offer this. Like, it's not always like, see, a lot of times we talk in absolutes and we talk in black and white areas. And I know, Trigger Mike, you famous for saying there is no gray area, right? While I agree with a lot of points that you make, right, at the same time, it's not necessarily just that gray area, right? So imagine if you would have slipped, right? If you would have slipped during your days where you were sowing your royal oats and you was out here doing your thing, right? And then you would have got a young lady pregnant that wasn't necessarily wife material, but you happen to have been intimate with, right? And of course you probably protected yourself and all that, but we all know that sometimes those break, sometimes, you know what I'm saying, all different types of things happen. So let's just say, for the sake of conversation, you would have got a woman pregnant in one of them type of situations, right? So now she's pregnant, but she's not really a marriageable woman, right? But you, with having the sense of duty and honor that you have, you probably might have tried to marry her, right? And you marry her, and because she's not marriageable, because she's not a person that is really wants to be married or really knows what a marriage is, then you have a disaster of a relationship, and then it ends in divorce, and then it's destructive to the kids and to
Mm-hmm.
everybody. So we
So
can't we
yeah,
can't say. So that's why a lot of people run around these YouTube streets talking about that dick discipline, because of the fact that we know as adults that you can get somebody pregnant by mistake, and it might
yeah.
not be a person that you deem to be worthy of being married to. You know what
So
I'm
By
saying?
the way,
it's not so Israel. It's not that the gray area doesn't exist. It does exist as you stated. You don't teach and you don't pretend to condone the gray area. So what we do in the U.S. is we condone the gray area. We don't. We took away shame for people living in the gray. So now the gray area is where most people are at. Before we
Right.
shamed it, and most people were in thought of things as black and white, right? So it's like if the like think about how your behavior is guided from most of society. If you know that your parents or your father will throw you out the freaking house by coming to you and saying that you're pregnant, less girls are gonna get pregnant. If you know your dad gonna throw you out, disgrace you, tell you can't talk to your mama no more, or for men, make you marry that woman, more dudes will practice the discipline. So it's not that the gray area doesn't exist. We know it exists, but you don't teach from it, right?
but can I say something, Trigger Mike? What is, I think, on not it's heard of, but we don't give a damn anymore, right? You
Facts.
said the right thing, but guess what's end up happening, right? You get a bastard, right? And you get a curse. So, and it's right there in the Bible. People think that, okay, I just had a kid. Oh, it's for the kids now because we mistakenly got pregnant. Oh, but it's a curse. And you had a bastard, and now you have an uphill curse battle, right? Between you, the bastard, and the girlfriend, right? We have to stop making this thing it's okay. It's not. It's not okay having sex without marriage. It's not okay impregnating these young women. It's not. And we're trying to, oh, well, it's the gray area has become a bloodbath, Trigger Mike. You're
Mhm.
going to create a bastard and then you're going to create a curse that you never asked for. And the only
What's
way
the
to break,
exact scripture? Wait. What's the exact scripture that you're talking about that you created a curse? What's the exact scripture that you're talking about? I'm curious.
I just said it, it's a
No, you
bastard
didn't.
out of
Wait,
wedlock.
hold on, wait. You didn't give me exact like for example, I could say I could
Let
do
me
all
let me
things
just
through.
finish my point
Hold on,
though. Can I just
hold on,
finish
fam.
my point?
No.
Can I,
What I'm saying is you're saying a
can I just
blanketed
finish my
statement.
point though? Let
Yes,
me
but
finish
I'm
my point
asking.
and I'll
Yes,
get to
hold
that
on.
though.
Yes, but I'm asking you to put a scripture
You're
on it.
interjecting. You're interjecting. Let me just finish my point, wrap it up,
Uh,
and then I'll give you that. I have no
no.
problem.
Okay,
But
okay.
my point is that because we see, I'm. That's the truth. I can't. I didn't make it up. God made that. You're checking me so I can go and find scripture, which I will. But if I don't, then it's not substantiated by you. This is the gray area, Trigger Mike, that
Don't
we're
use the
talking about.
shaming
If I
tactics.
don't
People always say
substantiate
things.
it now,
Nah. People
it's
always say
okay.
things
No,
are
it's
in the
not.
Bible. Wait.
It
People
was been
always say
5 minutes.
things are
We
in the.
already had
Hold
each
on,
other's
Rich.
throat.
People always say things are in the Bible that are not necessarily in the Bible, and so I never read that personally. So what I'm asking you is not necessarily to substantiate your argument. We're not on Fight Club. I'm asking you what the exact scripture is because you're up here
And I'm
preaching
telling you,
like that's
it's
the
there.
gospel.
And I'm telling you, I will get it for you, but I don't need to waste another minute talking about something that is already there, that we're going to create a gray area like it wasn't. It was always there, sir. So, anyway, skipping over that, this is what we're talking. It's a bloodbath. People don't care about if they stick their penis in something, a mistake of a child, a bastard. Now you have a curse. It's an uphill battle. People don't care, Trigger Mike. That's all I wanted to say.
Hey, let me chime in real quick?
Eh,
Just a
eh,
couple.
yeah,
Let
will
me.
you get him? Will you please bring that a verse though, please, man? Because you like you shouldn't just say stuff out like that without having a verse to refer to, so that people can refer and see what you're actually talking about. But I
Yeah,
appreciate if you get that verse. Go ahead, Mr.
yeah. Let me chime in. This is why I like to keep things secular. Okay, because everybody's not religious, but there's still a corollary in real life. Okay, we all know a couple of things we got to do is when you get a woman pregnant, it's just not a mistake. It's carelessness and
And
it's
people throw
Russian
that
roulette.
around real,
Well,
real loosely.
so let me just say that. So everybody who says I got a woman pregnant by mistake, unless you were living in a cave, you know how people get pregnant, and it's never a mistake. It's Russian roulette and it's careless. The other thing and this is kind of related, is when you get married and you have assets, a prenup is not a bad thing. It's business. And we got to take the stigma away from people getting prenups, because men are getting their ass kicked thinking that, mostly men who are the breadwinners, are getting their ass kicked thinking that it makes the woman feel some kind of way. That's why I say, if you're going to get engaged and you have assets that you want to protect, at the time of engagement, you have to tell her, don't accept this ring unless you accept signing a prenup. And then you do it the right way. One, you get a lawyer, she gets a lawyer. It's got to be before the engagement. And it has to all have these things in, so she can't, say, oh, I was under duress.
So-
You're springing on her. So that's just what I'm saying. We need to take the stigma away from things that protect men.
So
And a
it's
prenup-
not even. I don't even think. I think the stigma is actually gone on prenups. The one thing that I can tell you is that prenups, they even cost like less than $500. Dudes got sneakers that cost more than $500, and they won't get one. The reason why they won't get one is because I think now that I have more research done on it, like I used to just speak on it, like, oh, because I don't have one, right? So men won't get prenup. I can promise you that number will not increase ever. Men are extremely romantic, one, when they get married to that first woman. Second, men ain't got shit when they marry that first woman. So they're not thinking about that at all. Like a majority of men don't have shit. I bet you the average of prenups increases if you had maybe a 10-year marriage the first time and you get married a second time. Because I don't have one, so I've never thought about it. But if my wife leaves me, we got considerable assets now that I want to pass on to my children, that I don't want just some other woman coming to take. So that's where I think it's going to make sense for most people, because men are super romantic about their first wife. Super
Can I add
romantic.
something?
I didn't think about that one time. Yeah, go ahead.
Let me add to what you just said. I don't
I
disagree.
gotta go to the restroom real quick. I'll be right back.
Oh, yeah, well, real quick, most men, though, are starting to have more assets when they get married, because they're waiting till they have more things in line before they get married. Not the young guys, but if you're still in your 30s and you're not married, most likely you have some kind of assets that you might want to protect. So if you're 21 and 25 and you get married like I did, I was young, I was in my 20s, I didn't have anything, so I didn't think about a prenup. But if you have a business and you have a property and anything like that you want to protect, you got to have a prenup as part of your business arrangement. And listen, if you don't want to have a prenup, just know what you're putting at risk, and that's it. I'll leave it at that. So I'm not saying it's mandatory, but you got to have a business mind, because we all know that every state and the federal government gives a woman a loaded gun against you as a man. It's loaded as a motherfucker. Excuse me. It's just loaded. So it's almost irresponsible for you to put everything at risk. And if you're a rich man, like some of these stupid athletes, and they get married to IG models without prenups, they're just absolute idiots. And it almost hurts every man when you see a guy gets taken to a cleaners, because he married some chick who waits 5 to 10 years and then takes him, and just a bloodbath. It's just crazy. It doesn't make any sense to me. Anyway, that's just me.
Yeah, and I say, like, some men out in here, like, don't get prenups because, like, they feel like it create the distrust between him and the woman too. It's like you already putting, like, you're going to get the prenup because you already know you're going to mess up, and you don't want nothing to happen in between that. So it's like, all right, I'm gonna get this so I can prevent anything.
But that's the
happening
woman's
going forward.
narrative.
That's
the woman's narrative, though.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
but
That's what I'm saying.
the issue is that that's because people don't understand what a prenup is. A prenup, one of the tenements of a prenup is that it has to be fair. You
Right.
cannot have a prenup without it being fair. So just because you get a prenup doesn't mean that she doesn't get anything. That's not how that works. And
Right.
people don't
But that's the
understand.
explanation, though, right, Trey?
Yeah.
That's why she needs a lawyer just like you do.
Absolutely, exactly. So
Right.
if one of the tenements is that it has to be fair, it doesn't mean that she doesn't get anything. It just means it's already predetermined what she's going to get, and so you take the judge out of the equation. So I've never understood that idea that, like, even as a woman, if I was a woman, I'd be begging for one. Yeah, give me one, because I want to know what I'm going to get ahead of time. Rather
Just
than,
don't got-
you know what I mean? Like,
Here's
it's
some-
weird. It's weird.
That's funny. There's a woman giving away her sex for chicken dinners, and here I'm a millionaire, and she's going to give me some shit over a prenup, I'm giving you the life that you can only dream of, but you want me to do it by putting all my assets at risk. You got to be out of your goddamn mind. You know, so you go chicken dinners with a bum or a lavish lifestyle with me with a prenup that says, if this happens, you get this. If that happens, if we last 10 years, this is the bump up. The only thing you can't cover in a prenup is how the children get divided.
Right.
But
And you know, like a lot of dudes like be with women in a toxic relationship and think marriage is going to fix the relationship when that's not the case. Like that don't fix the relationship. Like you can't have problems going on and think, all right, I put a ring on your finger, everything is a race. We start off fresh now. Like that it don't work like that.
I just wanted to say that it seems like a contradiction, and it goes back to what I was saying. Like I feel that the establishment, the institution of marriage is completely out of context. Why would you have a prenup when, and I understand that you need to have a prenup based on how it actually is, but aren't in the vows through thick and thin, like to death do us part? So if the very getting married is an act of joining together to the end of your lives, the very act of signing a prenup shows you lied in your vows. You do not really have an intent to make it stick out till death do you part. The very prenup is you contradicting the marriage vows.
Actually,
see, that's what I'm saying. Like people be having problems. Like you see on a daily basis, like what people like what you went through in your relationship, on how you kind of try to resolve issues. Like everybody in their relationships don't do that. Like they let shit pile up. Like I said, get married, think it's a clean slate now, and everything is good. And you still got issues that's not being resolved. So on the outside looking in, it might look like everything good, and then years later down the line, they get a divorce. She take a man for whatever, and then people going to, I don't want to get married now.
But actually, though, let me add this to what CEO says. Listen, you can't. The vows don't change. They don't change the human condition. Okay,
right? They don't.
So forget about prenups for a second, right? What I say now is supposed to live for a lifetime, but we know people go through changes year after year after year after year, and so not just mostly the women, but so it's not like you're wrong. So there's no right or wrong answer to this thing. It's just that if I have an insurance policy for my car and I got an insurance policy for my house, I got an insurance policy. The prenup is like an insurance policy of being one of those guys who get devastated in court. And now you have to rebuild your life because a woman is milking you. If you want to get remarried, you want to start another family. I mean, it really matters. So whether the woman gets hurt over the fact that you asked for a prenup, first of all, I say that's more of a reflection on her than you, right? Because then you explain to her that it's not just to protect me, it's also to protect you, right? And so these are the kind of things you just have to do.
The marriage should be, to me, like it's almost like a blood bond. It's almost like slicing your arm, like this blood. If you got AIDS, I got AIDS. Like it's almost like creating a blood type. So I'm looking at it like you have a child. I don't give a damn what that child does. It ended up going against your rules, being a problem child, in and out of jail. Can you divorce your child?
No,
yes,
right.
Yes,
so
yes, you can when they get a certain age. Absolutely, absolutely,
you're making it complex.
Absolutely,
you cannot divorce your child. It will always be
absolutely. When they get that's not true. When they get a certain age and they make certain decisions and they do certain things, then you definitely could separate child from them and definitely separate from them. But at the same time, okay, you're talking about blood relation, but you don't have to be.
All right,
you don't have to be
one mic.
Right. But this is the thing, Trigger Mike. Right? We're talking about blood relation. This is the thing. Women, you cannot control a woman. You cannot make a woman do anything that you want her to do. So the thing about it is, she has a right to change her mind. So if she changes her mind, if she changes her. If she changes wanting to be in the marriage, the only thing that prenup does is keep you from being taken to the ringer because she changed her mind for whatever reason.
She shouldn't have the option
it's a
to
protection.
Change her mind.
But you cannot make people.
Married.
CEO, what are you talking about? How are you going to make a woman that you don't own? Even if you're married to her, you don't own her. You can't make her do anything. How can you make a woman stay with you for the rest of her life? How can you
asking her to marry me? And if we
That's
truly
not the
honor
case.
the
If that was
marriage,
the case, there
that
wouldn't be
would
so
be
many
how I make her
divorces,
stay
man.
with me.
What you talking
But
about, fam?
marriage isn't real no more.
Okay, good luck.
No,
Good
it
luck with
is.
that. Good luck
I
with
wanted
that.
to add to that is like
I
women.
actually agree. I actually agree with CEO to a certain level. It is a little bit of a fantasy, but what he's saying is correct. Is that if I say this is what I vow to do, that should be it. That's my word.
Cold,
And there should be nothing more of it. But unfortunately, in the world we live in today, vows for a lot of people they just don't mean anything.
No, but
They don't
Trey,
mean.
that was the world we lived in forever. This is the same world. Listen, yo, it says in the Bible back thousands of years ago, though for your hard-headedness and asking for a divorce, God has granted you a divorce. Listen, that was Jesus saying that. So what I'm telling you is, yo, this has always been the nature of people. Like, so you're asking people to change their very nature. Nobody, listen, people make vows, people make promises, people say things all the time. They vow this, they promise that, and they don't keep their word, bro. So there's no way to make
Right.
nobody keep their word. God don't
But
listen.
that's
That's
why. But that,
ideal.
hang
God
on.
don't even
Hang on.
make. God don't
That's
even
why I
make.
said it's a little
God
bit of a
don't even make
fantasy.
people keep Trey. God don't even make people keep their word. So what CEO's saying, it sounds good and it's idealistic at best, but there's no way to apply that and make it applicable.
Israel, you just cut me off to say the same thing I said.
No,
I said it's a,
I was
I
actually
said it's a
talking
little
and
bit
you
of a
cut me off.
fantasy.
But okay.
I
All
said
right,
it's a little bit of
let
a
me say this
fantasy.
because Miss Jill wants to hold on, let me find her comment real quick. So I was just looking it up, Miss Jill. Damn, what that I can't find these comments. Miss Jill is asking me to talk about what that lady Orissa says on Fight Club, that the people divorcing on paper only due to devastating medical bills. So go to the CDC and go look up 2.5 per thousand. So that's less than like 2.5 per thousand. That's less than 1% of that's 2% of 1%. All right. Of people that will divorce for medical reasons at all. For that thing. Like none of this stuff is ever prevalent of why people divorce. And that's stated on by the people themselves when they get divorced. So that's such a small amount of people that I'd never bring that up in this type of discussion. All right, let's get to the next question. Did everybody answer this question about why do modern couples rush to divorce? Did anybody else have anything to say on that? All right, bet. We got the next one. We're going to start with CEO. Should people stay for the kids? You know that argument like, oh, but that's toxic. And what about their happiness? Shouldn't they get a good example? All that bullshit. Should people stay for their kids?
Yes, it is. If is to the extent that they can, with the exception of messing up their lives or violence, and it gets to that bad, you should, even if let's say you guys agree behind closed doors that it's over with, you should at least try to maintain that perception for the sake of the kids, at least till they get to an age where they can handle that. Like you should maintain that false facade if you have to, but just don't damage that whole relationship, that whole perception, that whole bond. Don't create that separate family, separate household. Just don't do that to the kids. Fake it until they get to an age where you can sit down there with them and explain what's going on. Some people just don't work out, but there's a certain age where kids just aren't going to understand that, man. You just don't even take a risk with it. Just fake it until they get to an age where they can handle it.
Indeed. Mr. Williams, what do you think? Should people stay for the kids?
Yeah, I think they should stay for the kids, and definitely being the father that's in the house with my kids on a daily basis, and seeing the change, like the changes they go through growing up and stuff like that, and the teachings they need and the guidance and stuff like that. Like when the father not in the house, they miss out on all that. And like you said, you're across town and stuff like that. Like they got school activities and all this type of stuff going on, and 9 times out of 10, the father is not involved. Like definitely when they're not in the house, and 9 times out of 10, the kid's going to be with the mother. That's just how it goes.
Real quick.
Even if the father really like in a good position to have the kids, he's still not going to want the kids. That's what I see.
I just wanted to give a real quick scenario kind of based on what I was saying about, for instance, this is what I kind of experienced. Just think about this. You got a child and y'all divorced, y'all family and everything. The child goes to school with other kids and they're seeing other kids being picked up by father and mother. They're seeing, you know what I'm saying? You can damage that kid. Like the kids are at school talking about their father and their mother and their family situation, and you got that kid sitting there like he can't speak up or he can't talk or he's embarrassed to even say that his mom and dad don't even talk to each other. Like, you got to really consider what you're doing to that kid, you know.
And plus the behavioral issues too. Like,
we had a daddy-daughter dance about 2 Fridays ago.
I can't wait
at my daughter's elementary school, and walking in there, seeing all the dads, show up. That was always great. Salute to them. And immediately, just because I talk on these topics, I said, man, how many kids aren't here in this big gym? Right? The mama didn't even give them the flyer. Mama didn't even respond to the notice because they just didn't want to, they wanted to be bitter and be like, we'll go to the mom version or whatever. I said, how many kids aren't here? That's crazy, but continue.
Yeah, like I feel like I said, I feel like they should stay. Like, like I know family that's going through issues right now. Like, I'm like a father figure to my nephew, and I know his behavior getting out of hand because he ain't got no man in the house. So like saying that, just growing up in the neighborhood and as an adult now too, is like I see that a lot at a rapid rate. So yeah, father should stay.
Indeed, Mr. Rich, should people stay for the kids?
Yeah, listen. I think first of all, I think there's a difference between whether men or women stay, right? Because women are more apt to leave. But if you're a man, the first thing I tell people is, if you have children, in my head, the last thing I want to do is see another man in the house with my kids.
Yep.
Period. Once my kids were born, especially I have daughters, I didn't want to see no other guy in my house because even if my wife picked a nice guy, you never know. But it's not just because of that. Once I had kids, I didn't want nobody else raising my children but me, period. I mean, that was it. And again, I might not be a good example for that because me and my wife, we just groove so well together. That's why we're still together. But, men are apt to stay, but, women may not be on that same ticket. I haven't really heard women in these spaces say, I'm going to stay because of the kids. If the man cheats, maybe they do, but women are, like we know, statistics say they leave easier than men do. So I'm not going to go nowhere. And, and happiness was secondary to everything else. So there was ups and downs and stuff like that, but it was never, but I wasn't going anywhere. I don't want to drag this out. I just wasn't going to go anywhere. So now that my kids are grown, me and the wife, we're like kind of empty nesters, but we like hanging out with each other. So that's cool. So that's another story about men making sure they cultivate a relationship with their woman. So when the kids are gone, you're not looking at a stranger.
Indeed. Indeed. Trey, should couples stay together for the kids?
Yeah, I absolutely think that couples should stay together for the kids for all the reasons that the gentleman before me said. So I won't beat a dead horse on that, but I will say one of the most heartbreaking things that's ever happened to me was one of the first times that I had to drop my daughter off back to her mom's house, and she didn't want to go. And all I could think in my head was, you shouldn't even be in this position. This shouldn't even be happening to you. You shouldn't have to choose between mom's house or dad's house. And it just broke me down. And when I was in the car, I had to sit there for a second to go, how did this happen? Because that was never my intention. It was never supposed to go down like that. And I could just sit there and watch my daughter and just see her she's confused. She's 4 years old. She's confused. She doesn't understand. She went from being in a house with her mother and her dad to now going to her dad's house and then going to her mom's house and splitting time. So you got to suck it up. And I remember saying to my daughter's mom, you're not the bee's knees yourself. Nobody's perfect, right? I'm not perfect. You're not perfect. But we have to find a way to make this work for our daughter. It's about her. The moment she was born, it was about her. And unfortunately, she chose, her happiness over our family. It is what it is. But for all the reasons that the men said earlier, yeah, absolutely, you got to stay together for the kids because it does put them in the best position for the rest of their life.
Yep. I couldn't have said it better. Israel, should couples stay together for the kids?
Shout out to you, Trey, man. I'm really, sorry that you went through that. And I understand that completely. You know what I'm saying? And that's what I be talking about. Like sometimes
you just don't have the ability to have the woman to follow. Like, she'll follow you, and then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, you don't even know what's going on, and then she don't want to follow no more. She want to do her own thing. She feel this way, she feel that way, and you know what I'm saying. You can't force anybody. So I've gone through that before too. You know what I'm saying. And it's sad, man. It's sad because all children spell love Time, and all children want to do is see their parents together. So of course, I think that parents should stay together for the sake of the children. I'm a proponent of that. I believe in that. At the same time, it's unfortunate a lot, especially in the Black community. I see that a lot of women, like Trey said, prioritize their quote unquote happiness over the well-being of their children. So yes, I think that they definitely should stay together for the sake of the children.
Indeed. I'm gonna give my answer on this, man. Of course, y'all already could tell by the way I talk. I 100% believe couples should stay together for the kids, but I also want to make the statement that this is why couples stay together in the first place. Like Trey said, men aren't gonna leave, but for some reason, people equate men not leaving with their wives behaving correctly, always being some kind of ray of sunshine. These women ain't no y'all ain't no picnic neither. Y'all are not the shining beacon of angelic behavior, and men still stay. Literally, the first thing you think about when you like, I'm done with this, is your children. Nothing equates to most men leaving their wife once they have that first thought of what it's going to do to their children. It literally just dissipates. It just goes away. Like, well, can't stand this. Oh my God, I can't believe she did that. I'm gonna leave her ass. Damn, but what about the kids, man? Like the second you had that thought, nothing really equates. So when people say, "Oh, men don't leave," this is how men view things. It's not logical for you to leave. You don't feel like explaining to your children why your quote unquote happiness was more important than their emotions, their emotional stability. You don't. That doesn't even sound right coming out of a man's mouth. But let me read these super chats. I appreciate everybody that super chatted. I am going to read it. I'm sorry. I've been notorious for letting things go on. When I change the topic and ask each question, I'll go ahead and read the super chats. King Spark, please continue to send them and support the show in the Lapeef Network. You are appreciated. Appreciate that, King Spark. Hope to see you on here today. Mr. Sue says, best show on Lapeef. You've been killing it lately, bro. Salute. Hey, I thank you for that. Appreciate it. T.I. $5. TM, you're in your bag, bro. Speaking facts on a Monday. I tried to. Thank you. Mr. Marriage, Politics, and Sports, thank you for the $2 contribution. Colossus, from a foreign currency, I think that's Canadian money, says, the issue is not people, it's unruly feminist women. Agreed. Sherwin Thomas, $2. Mr. W, please explain how a prenup is negative. My man JB says, this man wasted 7 years of a woman's life. Respectfully, why would I listen to him? What father would want his daughter throwing away 7 years of her life to shack up? Response? Anybody?
I would like to respond.
Go ahead.
You know what I'm saying? Now, the very fact that the man said what he's said, I know he's not a man, but I would like to respond to this. In that 7 years, despite the fact that the two children involved were not mine, I raised them. In that 7 years, everything that was going on, everything, materialistic, financial, I took care of it. I handled it. I protected. I provided. I tolerated. I did everything. I didn't waste nobody's life. The bitch wasted my life. Okay, because in the end of the situation, she was not committed to legacy, and she was not committed to the family. She was committed to her own personal happiness, and she put that personal happiness before the very safety of two children and the overall family. So, respectfully, the dude who made that comment, I'm gonna respect the show, but I really want to say something foul to you. But just you knowing I want to say something foul to you is enough for me.
Bet. My man JB again, he's saying that a bastard out of wedlock child is a curse. This is a commonly held belief across the world. Why are y'all acting so obtuse? I agree. I don't know what the term itself is supposed to bring up.
Well, Trigger Mike, let me address that real quick. It's not that I just wanted him to give the scriptures so that I could look it up. That's it. So for knowledge sake,
yeah.
Like it wasn't
I wasn't being
obtuse.
No,
I
not
just
you,
wanted to
Israel.
know what the scripture was.
No, if you had to read the chat, if you can go back up, if it goes up, other people were talking about it in the chat.
Oh,
So I
okay.
think that's who
Yeah,
that's.
my StreamYard's
Yeah,
tripping,
you
Trigger Mike,
asked.
so
No,
I
you
can't
asked
even
for
get
the
on camera
scripture.
or see the chat.
Oh, okay.
I
Yeah,
can't
but the
get the
chat was
chat or
going
get
nuts
on camera.
on
It's
that one.
tripping. I don't know what's wrong.
Yeah, the chat went nuts on that particular statement. And I did put the scripture in the chat a while ago, but it's in the back chat too.
Yeah, Deuteronomy. I got it. Deuteronomy. I'm gonna look that up.
Bet. Clement Gray, $5. Mike, until we get back to the godly order of what marriage and the order of what marriage is and what it meant then and what it should mean now, we will continue to have this problem. 100% agree. 100% agree. Mr. Clement Gary, $5 again. Jesus also said it was not so in the beginning, but divorce can't happen unless one has sex outside of their marriage. Any other reason, we be judged. Indeed. You know, that particular one, a lot of people are going to be like, oh, well, I think a lot of ladies will be shocked. The interpretation, y'all let me know if I'm wrong on this. Can a man commit adultery?
Say that again.
Yes, Trigger Mike. A man can
No,
commit
no, no. I'm
adultery. Yes.
serious. No, I'm actually
Yes.
asking. I've
Yes.
heard it interpreted.
A man can
I've heard
commit
it
adultery.
interpreted that.
Let him say what he say.
You know, let me
Yeah,
tell
I've
you
heard
why.
it.
Let me tell you why
Yeah.
a man could commit adultery. A man could commit adultery if he's married to a woman, right? He's married to one woman, and then he does not let her know that he has the intention or he wants to marry another woman. If he is out here and he's married to the woman and then he's having sex with other women, that is in fact adultery. Now,
So
that's
what I was asking. I said the context.
But yeah,
has
so
to
if
be,
he has an understanding with that woman that he's gonna marry other women, then that is not adultery.
that is what I was asking. Not the can a man cheat, but like the biblical definition of adultery. It's like weird between men and women. So I had that broken down to me by forget what they call it.
Trigger Mike, and I wanted to add to that because that goes on a lot. And then men will sit back like, why is she tripping? Was she tripping for no reason?
Yeah, but remember, we preach the you gotta let her know. And then the funny part about it is some men are just living in the dark when all you gotta do is let the woman know these are your intentions. If you I think in most cultures and religions, you have to be able to provide for that woman that you're
equally, yes.
Exactly. Equally provide for her. And then it's not adultery. It's like, look, I'm taking this woman on as a wife. You said we need a babysitter. Shit. You know what I mean? And provide for her the same way.
But the issue is most Western women, most dudes are scared to lose, like you alluded to a while back. Most dudes are afraid to lose. And because most dudes are afraid to lose and they're beholden to women and they pedestalize women, they'll listen to women because most westernized women do not want a man to have more than one woman. You know what I'm saying? They'll go hard and oh, no, I don't want you to have another wife. I don't want you to have another wife. You know what I'm saying? So you got to make sure that you play the game fair and you got to make it known up front what your intentions and what your plan is. You know what I'm saying? And then it's kosher. Whatever happens after that is whatever happens.
All right, let me get to these last super chats. Mr. Clement Gray says, Mike, it goes to Genesis 3:16 and Ephesians 5:21 through 32 for both husband and wives to your comment, as we people don't want to be under God's control. Indeed. My man JB again says $10. Classic female line. I deserve to be happy. In their tiny and selfish brains. JB be wildin'. In their tiny and selfish brains. That trumps everything else, including how chasing happiness will impact their children, which is so goofy. Hey, look, that statement.
No doubt. Where's the lie at? Where's the lie?
Yo, where that statement. This is why I kind of went on that. I do not understand how anything equates. If you are the person who's going to get custodial control over those children, do you not understand the firebomb that you just lit in your own home? Then want to complain that you got no help. What did I tell you help was? Proximity to your children. If my children end up going to Harvard, all right, and end up becoming neurosurgeons, I won't be surprised because of their proximity to me. I can make them into anything I want them to be. When I say, hey, they had attention, like soldiers or some shit. That's because of my proximity to them. How can you take the man out the home and expect them to be that effective as a parent? How you
men shouldn't expect women to be rational, right? Yes. They're not rational, they're chaotic, and that's why happiness is so important to them, right? And it's not going to change. You have to navigate their chaos, and it's as simple as that. We can talk about it all we want, but they're going to drop the happiness bomb at some point. And you got to realize that, let them know that happiness is not up to me. Happiness is not up to me to make you. You know. So anyway, so that's is that me or somebody else? Well, anyway, so the only problem I would say is that men have to realize if you're with a woman, she's going to drop the happiness bomb at some point, and you just got to know how to navigate that. That's all I'm saying. I mean, women are just women. I mean, we got to realize the creatures that we're dealing with, right? And I think it's a challenge that we all take on if we want to cleave to a woman, right? And the other thing about adultery, I remember the 10 Commandments because I went to Catholic school, and I think the 5th commandment is thou shalt not commit adultery. I think something like that, but it might be murder. I don't know, but it doesn't say whether you're a man or a woman. It says you shouldn't commit adultery, period. You know, so all the rest of that shit is man-made so we can have excuses for ourselves and shit when we go ahead and step out. You know, but you should tell the woman. You should tell the woman. You know, whatever.
Yeah, so I definitely interpreted it as adultery, but oh snap! Don't get me to quoting scripture. I don't remember none of that. Yeah, all I know is that later in certain books, it's talking about how. Damn, who is? Let me see.
It's Ken Sean.
Later in certain books, it's talking about how if you're going to have multiple wives, so that situation to me is how some people misinterpret it and just start stepping out or against, letting their first wife know their intentions. So I definitely agree. Shouldn't just make up your own interpretation of what that means. Cause problems up in here. All right, got a second question. We're actually going to start. Mr. Kenshawn, you haven't spoken in a minute. This actually goes to what you were talking about too, Mr. Rich. Do you believe women actually achieve happiness after divorce? Kenshawn. And let me preface it like this. Ladies, you leave. You're the one that leaves. Men, every man on this panel, any man that thinks I'm wrong, let me know. A man will not prioritize his happiness over his children or the wife he chose. It's not typically what happens. You're the ones who leave. Y'all are the ones all on YouTube talking about you deserve to be happy. So this is why this particular question is phrased about you. It's not that I'm trying to be biased. I don't hear a bunch of niggas on YouTube talk about I left because I wasn't happy. It like literally you'll get laughed out. In fact, I'll remove you from the damn like it doesn't even sound manly at all. Kenshawn, you there?
Yes, I am. Yeah, I apologize for that.
No worries.
I think my phone is a little slow, so I hope I was able to help Brother Israel out because I don't want to go back and forth for something that's been there for 2,000 years. Okay, so I'm sorry about that. So there it is. It's in the chat and it's in the back channel. Yeah.
Thank you.
Kenshawn, you were first up on the question too.
Yes, can you repeat the last part of the question, please?
Yeah, I can repeat the question. Do you believe women actually achieve happiness after divorce?
No, because I think they were moody and their mood changed, and happiness has nothing to do with long-term being a unit together and union and family. It has nothing to do with it. Your mood changes and your mood swing, and then tonight you don't feel it. That's why we shouldn't, as men, we shouldn't go by that, right? We should hear them out, but we should not go by that, especially our wives.
I just want to highlight my sister. I see she chose violence today. On this topic, you chose violence.
You know how Callie Beth
bring
does.
your ass up on here. Well, we want to know which version.
She's a bringer of chaos and tyranny. You know that.
Which Infinity Stone you had today, and we know which one. So just go ahead and bring your ass up here. Talk about it. All right. My man Trucker, what's going on?
Hey, what's going on, people?
All right, I'm about to get you since you here. Do you believe women actually achieve happiness after divorce?
I can only see one possibility, but I don't even think that is enough. And that's if she was in an abusive relationship. That's the only way I can see that. But other than that, no, not at all.
Bet. Okay, we got White School in the building.
What's up, you guys?
How you doing?
Hey, White School, how you
I
doing
was
today?
trying to get up prior to the last question because I'm like, yo, my situation was totally opposite of that.
All right, go ahead and speak on it.
What's up, Chris?
So I was married for 9 years, right? And my husband stepped out. And I was like, man, this is crazy. So even though that all transpired and, you know, it throws you off, I gave him a second chance, right? To stay. And it seemed like he wanted to just leave and be not happy, but he didn't want to be here. and it was just like kind of strange to me because like I was like, okay, I forgive you, or what can I do to make it better type of situation, even though we're all not perfect. But I felt like I was robbed of that chance to try to make it better for the sake of the children, for the sake of the marriage. So I'm just like, well, I guess I'm that exception because it's been like that for the past 7 years. Like the inconsistency not there, and I'm not prioritizing the children, no phone calls, no picking them up. It's just really bad. So then it makes me feel bad, like, oh, did I choose wrong? But more than likely, yes. So it's just crazy.
Okay. Hey, who was in? We got new people in here. My man King Spark, what's going on?
What's going on, panel? How y'all doing today?
What's up, King Spark? How you doing, fam?
John the Baptist, I see you in the back. I'm gonna bring you up next.
Same old. I want to say a couple things on the topic. First of all, I think it's very important in the beginning when you take your vows that you don't take unrealistic vows. You know, don't agree to some shit you can't do. You know, the Bible I read says, "Thou shalt drop thy nuts and let women know what you really want in the front."
Wait, what scripture is that, King Spark? Wait, King Spark, what scripture is that?
Yo, we're retiring scripture for the rest of the show. We're retiring scripture for the rest of the show. I done misquoted it.
I'm sitting there like, man, again, here we go again. I need to start reading the Bible some more. Boy, it's giving some game right now.
No, but
yeah, that's serious. A different kind of Bible right there.
Yeah, it is. It actually is. But I'm serious though, man. Men gotta, let the women know what you want, because what is it that you're afraid of? What is it that you're gonna lose?
They're gonna lose,
you know?
Her, that's why.
They want to let her go because ultimately you're gonna lose her any goddamn way. If you telling her you're gonna be able to do some shit you ain't gonna be able to do down the line. So it's doomed from the jump. So go ahead, let her know, let her choose, and you probably will be surprised. You'll probably be surprised, man. Honestly, because there's more women than men. Then you got to account for all the men that's locked up. Then you got to account for all the other men that are into other things, right? So when you look at it, y'all gonna have to share anyway. So let's just, let's give it the program.
What?
Right. Hey, Trigger Mike. I really can't remember. She was the first question or the first topic that y'all was talking about the prenup and stuff. I kind of wanted to talk on that too, also.
All right, go ahead, real quick.
Now I was saying, I agree with like almost everybody in here. The only way I could see like the prenup being valuable is if she waited. Basically, you got her at the finishing line. Like she waited for you to be at the finish line. But if this is a woman that you like held it down and did everything right, proved herself in the whole 9 yards, then I don't see a prenup. I'm talking about a woman that's been there from the beginning while you was building up, or before that. So that's all I had to really say.
Indeed. Let me drop down real quick. Bring my man up next. John the Baptist to speak on it. All right, John, I'm gonna bring you up. Answer the question: do you believe women actually achieve happiness after?
No, I don't. Good morning. Good afternoon to the panel.
Good
I
afternoon.
I don't think women achieve happiness after divorce. I think they experience more pain and trauma. Um, I think they experience temporary happiness, but then that's only because they're doing some things that they think is going to last, that's going to be good for them in the long run, but it won't be good in the long run. They throw divorce parties, they throw all kind of parties trying to cover up the pain. But once all the party is done and the girlfriends start coming by and they start missing the man, they want to get another man, like Tia Mowry, then they start realizing like this is not what I thought it was going to be. Divorce is never good for anyone involved in it. It's not good for the kids. It's not good for the wife. It's not good for the husband. You're actually trying to rip apart um, something that's been bonded for years. Well, even if it's just been bonded, if it's been bonded any length of time, you're trying to now tear it apart. You can never separate anything that's separate cleanly and think it's going to feel good in the process. It will never feel good.
I bet. Who we got next? Let's go to CEO, then Mr. Williams.
Well, you skipped the bottom. I still didn't go, man.
All right, CEO, then Israel.
Just from my experience, and like I said, I believe heavily and scientifically in the true hierarchy. It's not really opinionated. It's a fact. It's God, man, women, and child. That's how it is. Like, it can be explained in so many ways. Scientifically, it's irrefutable. But as a man understanding women, men got to kind of look at women like children, because that's where they are in the ultimate rank. They do think like children. It's all about happiness. So do women achieve happiness? Yeah, probably 1,000 times. Are they able to establish it and maintain and keep that happiness? No. But they think the grass is greener on the other side all the time. They go over, find a new man. It's good for a little while. They're happy, and then it mess up. They go find a new situation. They're happy for a moment. Yeah, they find happiness 1,000 times afterwards, but they never are able to actually establish it and maintain it, and to really keep happiness in their life at all times. They always end up in regret and bitter because they made a decision thinking that grass was greener. Then they find out, no, that situation played out just like the previous situation, and now they're fucked off, sitting around unhappy, looking for the next dude that'll come in and make them happy for maybe 2 weeks, and then they'll be unhappy in that situation too. So they don't find it.
Listen, let me, before you go, I gotta tell this story, because you make a very good point, man. And one of the things that I want to let the ladies know on this particular topic is we're not guessing. We're not guessing, because they think us as men, we're guessing to see if they're unhappy or not. Do y'all not realize women talk? Women tell us what y'all thinking. Your homegirls are telling on you. Your homegirls will hang up with you and pillow talk with their man. Like, I told that bitch not to leave that nigga. Look at, now she on my phone crying like I ain't got better shit to do.
Mike,
like,
that
your
is so
homegirls are
true.
telling on y'all.
That is
like,
true.
We are not guessing here. We know that you hurt. We know. All right. The problem is that women don't exercise foresight. Y'all heard me say that on multiple occasions. The reason is that when they make the decision to leave, they are thinking about everything they can gain. Happiness is a part of that. The funny thing, and I'm going to tell y'all this story, is something that we've been talking about. We got friends. They got a bunch of kids. The wife left as soon as they moved. She just was around some new dudes. She just left the husband. Then she saw how great his new wife was. This dude got married in record time. If you want to know if God exists, you take a man like I'm talking about, with all his kids, all his issues. When I say consummate, excellent father, God sent this woman to him. I'm telling you, like, the way she accepts these children, the way she like they her kids, that he sent this woman to him because he was going off the deep end, right? Trying to save his marriage. Like, I'll do anything, stay for the kids, we can work it out. Nope, she was out. They do not exercise foresight. Now, at their wedding was just a few months ago. How do you think his ex-wife feels? What's she trying to do now? She's trying to work it out. Nah. No, you ain't trying to work this shit. You feel you having second thoughts, this woman treating your kids good, huh? They call her mommy. Oops. They telling you they love her, huh? You didn't think about that when you left. You don't get to have a problem with it now. You caused this. Women do not exercise foresight to know that one feeling you have does not equate to you blowing up your whole family. Let it pass. Let it pass. Like, that is all I really got to say on it. That is why women end up bitter and talking trash on YouTube. Because after it didn't work out for you, then it's the man's fault. You had everything great to say about your new adventure when you left. I'm doing this for me. Look at Tia Mowry, dumbass. It's me time. It's time I think about me. It's a graduation. It's a graduation. You dumb. Oh my God. Now she talk about I will find happiness again.
Exactly.
Dumbass.
Exactly.
You know,
Oh
Trigger
my
Mike.
God.
She's not ready. She's not ready to
You
find
know,
happiness.
Trigger Mike.
I actually, this is an
Let me
interesting
let my
topic.
man Israel up. Coco, I see you in the back. Israel, you next on the question.
I'm sorry.
Hey, so I just wanted to say real quick to both CEO's point and your point, Trigger Mike, just real fast. Yeah, man. So this is the thing, right? And that's why I talk about happy. This whole happiness thing is the devil, man. It's so elusive and so deceptive and so fleeting. It's fickle. It's no such thing as this true happiness that everybody is talking about. So it's chasing after a myth. It's chasing after a dream. It's nothing, right? And so what happens is, yeah, they can have temporary what we call happiness, but it's so temporary that it doesn't even matter. So hell no, they chasing, like he said, they're chasing after greener pastures, only to find out that there are no greener pastures. It is what it is. Like anything that you want to have that's worth having is worth working for. It's worth, you have to put in the work, you have to put in the effort. It's not always easy, it's not always fun, it's not always gonna go the way that you want it to go, but it's a sacrifice. That's how it is. It's sacrifice. Love requires sacrifice. Relationship requires sacrifice. And unfortunately, a lot of times in these modern times, people want all the rewards and none of the risk and none of the responsibilities.
Yeah,
Amen.
let me hop in there real quick before then somebody else. And what everybody is referring to is it's called the hedonic treadmill or hedonic adaptation. And what this is commonly referred to is when people say, "Can money buy you happiness?" This is when they typically use these sort of phrases. And what hedonic treadmill and hedonic adaptation refers to is, yes, can it buy you happiness? Absolutely. But can it help you maintain happiness? No, it cannot, because you will always come back to a stable level at some point in time, no matter how high you get or no matter how low you get. You will always sort of come back to the stable level. Do I think that women can achieve happiness after divorce? Sure, absolutely, because happiness is subjective. So whatever she says that's making her happy, yeah, she can be happy. But will she be able to maintain this happiness over a long period of time? Absolutely not, because she's searching for this high that she feels every time she gets happy, because she's on this treadmill and she's just going to keep going up and down, and she's going to keep chasing this high. You can say the same thing about drug addicts that chase the dopamine hit. You can say that it's a lot of different things, when in actuality the best thing for her to do was to stay in the marriage and work it out and figure it out, and then just ride the highs and lows with the person that you were with, as opposed to getting out of the marriage and trying to find this happiness. But overall, yeah, can she find happiness? Yeah, because it's subjective. There's times when she can just be happy, but overall, in the long run, probably not.
I got a friend. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, Trucker, we
Yes.
can
Yeah.
hear you. Go
I'm
ahead.
sorry. Um, I'm gonna just call it karma. I got a friend. My lady's one of her homegirls, right? She moves like that. She got kids. She had a husband, the whole 9 yards. And we knew it was some shit because she was out. She started giving them traits like she was just out here trying to live that happy life and everything. And we kept trying to warn her, like, yo, you got you a solid dude, don't mess it up. She goes on and start messing with this dude behind the back. Husband devastated, of course, because they've been together for like almost 10 years. You know what I'm saying? And I've been with this dude many a times, and I'm like, if he wanted to mess with these girls or these women for real, he could, but he was like 100% taking care of his family, the whole 9 yards, paying all the bills, everything. So I just found out they got a divorce or whatever, and she is down bad, down bad. It wasn't like I'm talking about like she out here, she didn't cheated with this dude. This dude and got like multiple baby mamas, the whole 9 yards. And the dude that I'm, saying that got a divorce, he ended up finding his lady, like finding that woman, even though he wasn't trying to. She just popped up, showed up on him, and it just shows, like, and ever since she found out that he started dating and all this other stuff, she been trying to show her ass, pretty much. So, it's pretty. The 80-20 rule, it's hard.
Let me say this too. I think that women are very spoiled and entitled. So when this situation comes up and they think about divorce, they actually think like they were owed something when the whole time nobody don't really owe you anything at all. So if they really were thankful and grateful for the fact that they actually found a man that wanted to take care of them in the first place, they wouldn't be so fast to say, I'm gonna leave this man. You know how, first of all, as men, we know, you know how hard it is to get somebody to buy you a number two? People like it's hard. It's
King,
hard. I can't
King,
get
King,
nobody to do nothing for me.
King. I'm talking about when I say this dude was paying for, like, he do what I do, okay? I pay for everything. I'm talking about socks, everything. My ladies do not pay for nothing. You know what I'm saying? So he was doing that, and he was making about 70,000-80,000 a year. Okay. And like you said, like, this man worked his ass off, took care of his family, and then you just disrespect. Like, you got this man around your finger that you can be with for the rest of your life, and you shit on him for just decided, make yourself happy,
That's the
which is some
problem,
selfish
Trucker.
entitlement shit.
Yeah, that's the problem though. Unfortunately, a lot of women don't like easy. They want a challenge. They want something that's going to be mysterious. They want something that's going to be exciting. They want something that's going to be, you know what I'm saying, flashy and fleeting. They don't want the steady, you know what I'm saying? A lot of women just don't want that. You know what I'm saying? They don't
But
they
see,
think it's
Has
boring.
everybody got a chance
but
to
see,
speak on the topic yet? Has
No,
everybody
no,
got?
no. Everybody
No.
hasn't. No,
I'm
no, no,
sorry.
no, no. Everybody hasn't.
I'm
After
sorry.
Pop, everybody hasn't.
I haven't spoke on this one though either.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
let's get the men out the way so the women can speak. The thing is that I believe that happiness is fleeting, but I think it's just more of a woman's the condition, a woman's condition. I don't think it's neither good or bad. It's something that I think men just have to navigate. When you want to be in a situation with a woman, you got to understand that her stuff goes up and down. And then when you get a discerning woman who understands that temporarily she might be unhappy for some reason or the other, if she's committed to the relationship, she knows how to wait until the shit ebbs and flows. And when I look at Tia Mowry, the reason why she's such a great case study, she's been on this world tour about how happy she is to get out of her marriage, and it's not even been 6 months. The chick is already unhappy already. 6 freaking months. Broke her family, by all discernible things. People try to disparage her husband that he's broke. The fucking guy's a millionaire. You know, he's a not a multi. He got he's worth like $2 or $3 million. How is he broke? Oh, because he
He's
don't make a
well
bunch of
off.
stuff. You know, and so the point is, she left this guy because she wants to ride the carousel. Nobody wants to say it. She wants somebody else to slam this shit home, and and she's gonna find out that that's fleeting as well. And then she's going to realize that she's not going to find love like she had before, because no discerning man is going to really wife up a woman who's going to be unhappy in the next 3 months and break whatever you make. Why would I dedicate anything to her?
Yeah,
So and that's one thing. And the
Exactly.
second thing, Trigger Mike was talking about foresight. I do Sunday dinners with my daughters. They're both grown. My wife's there, so we have these Sunday dinners. And I had a full length conversation with my daughters about the fact that they need foresight, and that's how I ran the family. I said it wasn't just what's going on with us today or tomorrow. I was thinking of where we're going to be in 5 years, 10 years, and that's why I tell them that whatever you're feeling about men and relationships now at 23 and 30, that's not the way you're going to feel at 35 and 28 or 40 and 20. Because we were talking about how women just waste all their youth on certain things. I said, listen, you got to project yourself that when you're 40 years old or 45, and if you don't have any children, you got to come to grips with that a whole lot sooner, because sooner or later, nature is going to close the door. And you don't want to go through life with that kind of regret. So it has to be a conscious decision that you don't want a marriage and you don't want a kid. Because right now at 20, 28 or 23, it sounds like it's easy to say, but at 40 and 45, that shit is a whole lot different. So that's foresight. So that's enough of that.
I
right.
think we
And
also need to
oh, go ahead.
frame women to have more foresight. Like in my 20s, I knew I wanted to get married. Like when I went to college, I knew I wanted to get married. It wasn't a thing of, and I knew I wanted to get married relatively sooner than later. So that for me made it where it was more of a priority that I didn't think I had all the time in the world to get married. And also, being a more discerning person, knew I had a more agreeable nature to be able to get married because in college, some of the women I was around with, I'm like, I don't think she's gonna get married because it was just a combative nature, wanting something that you didn't qualify for. And true to form, most of the people, I mean, it's been 20 years since I graduated college or it started college, they're still single. I think for women, but even with that insight, I almost fell into the trappings of thinking that the grass was greener and this and the other because of frustration. I think a lot of men don't understand for some women the frustration, particularly when you have kids, is like, oh my goodness, I'm so overwhelmed. I thought it was going to be 50-50 when majority it is on me, which I was pushing back on, but I eventually accepted it because the child's in me for almost a year. The child's outside of me is still attached to me, still completely dependent on me because I was exclusively breastfeeding. So there's this constant on me, on me, on me, draining my energy. And I thought how my husband showed up is how I should show up, and that is not the case. And then because my husband is not, oh, let's talk about my emotions. He's very stoic. He's not that person. I had to, thank God for the content and listening to men speak about how men experience the world, how men process things, how men process emotions, and understanding from a man perspective how this goes. And once my worldview and my mind shifted, it's only my husband now on. Like before I thought, oh, because I'm a good woman and I am, and because I know I'm a rarity when it comes to working with a man, that I could possibly find someone else because I am a good woman, but that's not even the option in my mind anymore. Because I learned that happiness is not the ultimate goal. Happiness is fleeting. Happiness fluctuates. And I can't speak for other groups, for the women who say they're Christian and then say that, well, God told me I shouldn't be with this man or this, that, and the third. That really, are you going to the word to understand what it is that you're supposed to do, what your assignment is? Because in the word it says, you will go through many trials and tribulations, but I've overcome the world. And then also, I've learned in all situations to be content in everything. Doesn't mean the situation is going to be great. Doesn't mean it's going to be wonderful and that you should pursue happiness. Because where in the Bible does it ever say that your ultimate purpose is to pursue happiness? That's the most
Nowhere.
important thing. Yeah, exactly. And I think that's what messes up a lot of women that they create the God that they want instead of going to, if you say you're a Christian. Now, for any other faiths, I can't speak to, but if you say that you're a Christian woman and you want a God fearing man, do you even show that you care or desire what the God that you say that you want? Or is it just you're just saying these things to say these things so you can feel good about yourself? So for women and happiness, especially being, I just don't think women think really like Mr. Payne said about the long-term effects of what a divorce will do to you, and you're so caught up in your emotion that you can't see the forest from the trees. So that's why it's very, I, I mean, Michelle Obama said it. People just want to quickly get out. They don't want to work through things. They don't fully flesh things out, particularly for women when it comes to leaving in marriages. So happiness is fleeting, like F your feelings. It's really temporary. You'll have the highs and lows, but learn to be content, especially if you know you have a good man, work it out with that good man, because there's, especially when once you have kids with anybody, I can't let anyone in my life. Or around my children. It's my
Right.
husband, my family, that's it.
Let's give
And
let's
God
give
And
forbid,
and
you
I
who
want
know,
to
else
say
hasn't
that
spoken on this?
I want to say that like most women don't achieve happiness after divorce. Some do, and it's like very low because a lot of them not really, I would say, like realistic. Like they not honest with themselves. You feel me? They think just because they beautiful, you feel me, the grass is green on the other side. Just because a man shooting that, all these dudes shooting that shot at you, you think you good now. Like it's nothing to worry about. But reality humbles them real quick because once they get a guy, they think it's the one, just off of some superficial stuff. They see otherwise real quick, and then they look at it like they gotta just take a look in the mirror. And some of them really don't do that a lot often. Like they look in the mirror to get themselves dressed and made up and stuff, but as far as when it comes to reality, they don't really look in the mirror for those type of things. I mean, and I understand a lot of them didn't really get that guidance from a man growing up, but as they get older, you really gotta like get in tune with those type of things and like try to understand and look at what's really going on around you, and a lot of them really don't do that.
Has wife school? Have you got to answer the question yet? All right, you good? You did?
No, I didn't. Sorry.
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
I don't think women who leave for the basis of being wanting to be happy will ever find happiness. Um, I mean, if you've been abused, yeah, you might find somebody better that's not busting you in the head, but but as far as leaving based on wanting to find your happiness, you will never find happiness because emotions are fleeting. Women, we are emotional. We do not lead with logic. Um, I I do read the Bible. I'm a Christian, and Eve. Let's just go back to the beginning. Boom, right in the beginning, she made a decision based on her emotions because of what somebody said. Oh, you're gonna be this, or you're gonna feel this way. You're gonna know this thing. You're gonna, you know what I'm saying? Oh, Tyrone, he looks good. Oh, he got that gray sweatpants. Nobody's gonna know. Your husband's whack. He's not been providing. You're not doing. You know what I'm saying? Like those ideas, those little the voices in your head will make you do some stupid stuff, and it will make you leave a decent, stable marriage, and it will have you out here looking dumb. And I do feel bad for Tia. I don't like to bash anybody, but I do feel bad. And then you guys were talking about how she publicized it, made a campaign. So now women that are on the fence or have these fleeting feelings, by her being out there, she's giving women to feel the permission to be like me. Let's all graduate. Let's all go get, let's go on these yachts and live it up, even though like we're old and all these stuff, and ain't nobody more than likely going to wipe us up after this. But I mean, it's just this bad perpetual wheel that us women, we keep, enabling this behavior, and we're citing it and saying, yes, girl, doing the hand claps and all this stuff. And while our culture is suffering, while our families are suffering, while our children are suffering. And it's just really unfortunate.
And I wanted to
Wife
add to
school, don't
that.
feel bad
Wait,
for her. Don't feel
let
bad
Hold
for
on, I
her.
just wanted
wait.
to add
Let
to that.
let John.
Don't feel bad for her.
Hey, Mr. Williams, let John the Baptist go first, and then and then you could get in after that. Let everybody go first, and then let's get in after that. All
That's
right?
cool. He go. It's cool.
You there, John the Baptist?
I've already answered about women can't be
Oh,
happy.
you already answered. Okay. Who
Yeah.
else hasn't answered the question yet?
Oh,
Chris.
Kristen.
Chris. All right, Chris.
The simple answer is no. They're not happy after the divorce. They are good at masking the happiness. They're good at taking pictures. They're good at buying new clothes. They're good at taking vacation trips, these girl trips, so they can put on the front that they are happy. The way I see it, you're buying expensive stuff to cover up your cheap habits. So no, they're not happy. Like I said, I don't care to bring up Tia because although people have ran that into the ground, but I want to bring up the a lot of people, a lot of women like to bring up the Bible. God said, God told me to lead that man. God told your goofy ass not to get with him. So why you just not listening to God now? And you want to talk about divorce? If you're not talking about the 3A, I call it the 3 A's of divorce: abuse, abandonment, adultery. Anything outside of that, keep your grown ass in that marriage and figure it out because you're an adult. Children are not supposed to get married. The problem is you fell in love. That's childlike. You was in love with the honeymoon stage of having a good time, being happy. That's childlike. Children don't get married. Parents don't even grant access for the children to get married because they're not finished growing yet. What is a marriage about? You hear all the time. God rest his soul. Kevin Samuels said a lot. It's about duty, obligation. Do you know how to be a husband? Do you know how to be a wife? What's the ins and outs about that? See where you measure up to the people in your family and really ask yourself, are you really ready to take on this responsibility? Does it make sense? Does it add value? Will it help you achieve your ultimate goal? If all three of those answers are not yes, stay your ass on that side of the fence because you're not ready for what's gonna happen on this side. Because you're looking at all the people getting the answer right and they're reaping the rewards of marriage. But you never know the sacrifice and the commitment and the investment that goes into it. You always tend to forget that part, and you're quick to run to the judge to save you. So if you're if you don't if you didn't believe in the Bible, if you didn't care to listen to the Bible then, you didn't care to listen to God then, why should he pay attention to you right now when you needed help? He tried to be proactive and help you out back then. What makes you think that this is going to change? That's it. Just food for thought.
And like I said, I wanted to add to that too because like a lot of women when they in relationships or marriage, like we all do get content, we get comfortable, we lose ourselves, and I done seen that a lot. A woman gain weight and the man is not as attracted to her as he once was when he first got her. Now you thinking he out here messing with somebody else, but you ain't look in the mirror. Like, is y'all even having conversations about these type of things? Because you would know. And I hope a man is being honest about that. But I know a lot of guys don't because they don't want to hurt a woman's feelings and things like that. But you got to be
That's
honest
so
because
true.
that's the only way you're going to get things fixed. That's the only way things going to get done if you be honest, be upfront. Like if you ain't telling, if she say, do I look fat in this dress? Do I look like I gained weight? Yeah, you did. Is you gonna leave me because I told you you look fat? Because if you feel like you want to leave me because of that, then you was really never with me for real. Like all this shit was fake at this point. But yeah, like a woman to gain weight, then put on a man that he ain't making her happy now. When you not even really happy within yourself. Like besides a man, like you're not happy without a man. Like so, what makes you think you're gonna be happy with a man? Like he can't. It's only certain things a man can add to you, but and it is things that you supposed to do on your own. I would say that supposed to help keep you happy, but you can't put you gain weight on your man and now you mad at him and want to fuss him about every day or whatever because he ain't touching you no more. He ain't looking at you like he used to.
All right. I think everybody got a chance to go on that particular question. I got a guessing game for y'all. So I tried to do research this a long time ago. I thought about a particular statistic to look up so I could make a point, and it varies around the world, like by region, country, all of that. I was just thinking to myself, how many people do y'all think regret getting divorced? And some are very low. It's like 27%. But most of them are at the halfway. It's like as much, I think, was 64%, and then 52%, 51%, 46%. I remember taking the median, and it was somewhere around 53% of people in general regret getting divorced. So I want y'all to guess, starting with CEO. So take a guess. What percentage of women regret getting divorced from divorcing their former husband? Because women are one that leave. We can talk about men, but men don't leave. Women are the ones that primarily leave in our society. So, what percentage of women do you think regret divorcing their former husband?
I mean, a large percent. I would say in the 90s. I would say majority of the women regret it. Just because of the nature of things. Like, I mean, some of them might be lucky, but just the situation, the dynamics with women. You know what I'm saying? Every man after that is going to somewhat, to a degree, value a little less. You're going to have, expectations, things that you're used to, the time that you invested. You're always going to be chasing that high. It's not going to be the same. The honeymoon phase is just I believe majority of them.
Mm-hmm. Damn, we got people saying all of them in the chat. I mean, there's a few outliers, people getting their ass whooped, but like, again, as we say, nobody's ever talking about them, right? We can't teach from the grave. We know people out here claiming happiness. And let me say this, because I forgot to say this in the monologue. I do not understand why people cite finances as reason for divorce when you divorce into financial ruin anyway. I do not understand that as a
Because
reason.
people, hey, Trigger Mike, because people are dumb. Let's keep it real.
Like,
people are dumb. Listen. People do all kinds of things in the name of fear that put them in a worse position than they was in before they did it. People take medicines where the freaking side effects is worse than the thing that they're trying to cure.
Exactly.
People are just freaking stupid, man.
I couldn't have said it better. That is facts right there. They do take
All right,
medicine.
Israel.
They'll be like, this will cure your restless leg, but your eyeball gonna be droopy, your eyeball gonna fall out, your nose gonna be bleed. Like, what? No, thank you. Restless leg for me then. Anyway, Mr. Williams, you next.
I say
What
90,
percentage of women do you
95%.
think regret divorcing their former husband?
I say 90, 95%.
Goddamn. Explain.
Look, it's hard out here for a pimp.
Yep, that's facts.
That's all I got.
All right, King Spark.
I definitely think most of them, but for the stat wise, will be how many women would you get to admit that they regret divorce? So I think about 47% will admit it.
Okay. Wife school. Oh, I really want a woman's perspective from on this one.
I think, like, okay, percentage wise, maybe 80%, because I think women, like I said, they're just emotion based. So when we come down from that high or whatever we feeling, then we realize like, oh, Ricky wasn't that bad, or I'd rather be with him than being out here on my own. Now I'm homeless. Nobody don't want me and my kids. So like hindsight, it's pretty bad because women, we always reflect. We reflect after the fact. So I believe it's up in the 80%. Like even me, I got divorced, and I always have, even though like I feel like it's valid, like I feel abandoned and adultery and all that stuff, I still inside wish I had some form of marital relationship for my children, so, just for those purposes. So I'm saying the 80%.
I bet. Chris, what you got?
I remember seeing that number last year, I want to say it was around 60%, but nevertheless, it's still majority of women that get divorced regressive. So, but I'm gonna lean towards 62.
And it's actually I forgot a critical part of it. It's their first husband, so that's usually the person you build your original family with.
Still in the
So
60s, in my
it's if a
opinion.
woman is married. I saw one that said if a woman is married 2 or more times, does she regret leaving her first husband? That one was over 50%. That was like 54%. So it's like like goodness gracious. Remember, I said you start yourself. If it's a woman that leaves and is leaving to start something new, because like I said, this is info we're getting from Pillow Talk. We know how you feel. So a lot of women are leaving for their fleeting quote unquote happiness, then regretting it after they broke up their family. And then I believe sometimes it's the man that makes them regret it if it's the woman that left. Because sometimes I think women are so vindictive. Some people divorce their man just to teach them a lesson, right? They were just upset. Then they took it too far. And now he like, forget you. I don't know what you think this is. That joint from college been wanting to get on this. I'm gonna go get with her ass. Then you got to pick the kids up from that wedding and see your kids in new Christmas pictures. I don't think they really think all that stuff through. Mr. Rich.
Yeah, I think it's around 75%. You know, I mean, if you take away abuse, right, and it's just like she's not happy, or the fact that he actually stepped out once in a while. It depends on how sloppy he was, but for the most part, women keep fronting on this. When a man might step out, women are used to understanding that, if especially they got a man with any value, that he might, dip his wick. But it depends on how sloppy he is, and and it's not for every man, but some guys. So I don't think women really leave just for that. It's more the modern woman who says, "I don't need this anymore," and she'll break her family because she's short-sighted. And if the guy has some kind of remorse, so I think it's around 75% that the woman eventually regrets it, especially if they have a nice, solid family unit, because most of it is just going to be how they felt at the time, or for a little small, maybe a month or two, is they're unhappy, and then they leave. So it's 75%. I think they regret it. That's it for me.
I believe it's Africa. Africa Pop, you available?
She said she was eating her lunch. I don't know if you
Israel Mills, you with it? Whoever want to go next.
Go ahead, Israel.
So, who is next then?
Africa Pop, Israel Mills, then John the Baptist. Whoever's ready. John the Baptist.
I'm ready. All right, then. So I think the percentage of women that are happy after divorce, is that the question?
Yes.
Oh no, the ones that regret divorce.
Yeah,
so I'm gonna say 60% regret divorce. But I don't think it's anything because of the man did. Hello?
No, keep going.
Yeah, I don't think it's anything that the man did, though. I think it's all because she realizes that she thought she could do better, but she really can't. And that she just didn't understand what marriage was and what life is. So she regrets her inability to think things through and to cope with life and to deal with life. And so she begins to regret her bad decision making. But I don't think it had anything to do with the man. I think it's all because of her. And that's not even gonna mention what the man does, because I think it's irrelevant. That's it for me.
Bet Trey, you want to get in on this?
Yeah, I actually think the number's lower than your research trigger. I think it's about 25% of women actually regret divorcing. And the reason why I say that is because I think they have moments of regret. I don't think they overall regret doing and making the decisions that they made, because as we both spoke before about the last question, they're chasing his happiness. So I don't think they overall regret it. I think they have moments, maybe when they are taking their kid to a soccer game and they see the kid run up to both the
Hmm.
mom and the dad, they have this moment of, oh dang, I shouldn't have done that to my kid. Or maybe when they go pick their kid up and the car in front of them in the line, you know what I'm talking about, has both the parents in the line. Maybe they have that moment of regret. But overall, in this day and age in 2023, I just don't believe that these women, I don't think they really care. I think a lot of them were using a lot of men just to get the kid. I know a lot of women that got married just to get the kid and then got divorced. They never really wanted to be married. They went through all of that just to get the child, rather than paying a than paying a sperm bank. So I think that number is actually a lot lower than your research would suggest. I think a
Hmm.
lot of women don't regret it. They get in and then they get out.
Damn.
I wanted to add something to
I
that
hope
too.
you're not right. That's all I gotta say.
Yeah,
I
because
hope.
I disagree with that. Because it's having like raised like well, I would say on a daily basis on having kids, you got to get up in the morning, get them ready, make sure they eat, get them out for school, pick
Yeah,
them
but
up,
Mr.
drop.
Williams, as we've already established, women do not think this stuff through.
Yeah, no, I know. No, I'm
They
just
don't.
saying, like, far as like regretting it and knowing what you have to do on a daily basis when that man not you don't have nobody there to get that help from. That it definitely hits. It hit different.
Mr.
So
Williams, Mr. Williams,
I was actually
let me
thinking. Oh, go ahead.
I just want to ask Mr. Williams a question real quick. Have you ever had a woman ask you for your seed? Just she don't want you, she just wants your seed. Has never happened to you
Oh,
before?
oh,
Mm-mm.
damn.
CEO raised his hand. It's happened to me.
Damn.
It's happened to me
Yeah.
by a lesbian
If,
couple
if she
and
wanted my
and
seed,
and
she
by a
wanted to
straight
be
woman.
with me.
They just wanted to see. They didn't want nothing else. They don't want a relationship. They're even
Yeah.
willing to do it the old-fashioned way just to get the seed.
It's
Yeah, but that's
so
anomaly though.
listen.
Because
You don't
biologically they
normally
can't do it.
hear.
So what? There's
Yeah,
nothing
Listen.
so special about
I
that.
you don't
tell
They
I
can't
normally
tell
hear
my
that
biologically
wife.
as
do it.
much.
I say one group was a lesbian. The other one was a straight woman.
I tell my wife often. I said, look, the reason I moved away, I had to make like a drastic move away. The girl I was dating at the time, no reason to be talking about kids or marriage at the stage of the relationship. And I was like, is this woman trying to get pregnant? Like, what is going on? Like, why is she proposing these things? So that exact situation is why I made the drastic move to get the hell out of Dodge before I
Yeah, that's
ended
not
up, in
common
that
though for
situation.
most men. Most of the time, I would say for me, like if a woman wanted my seed, she wanted to be with. Because she
Oh,
saying
that
how I operate with my kids, my household, like she how I hold it down. Like she see like that's what I want. Like for her, like that's how she felt. Like that's what she would want for her child. For the father to be there. She see me taking my kids outside, teaching them how to ride their bike, things like that.
hmm
Taking my son to the basketball court, teaching my daughter how to ride her skates. Like when a woman see that, she, oh yeah, that's what I want.
No, no, like we've talked about that numerous times on this show though. When a woman like that's why married men got to be careful. It might
Mhm.
even be safer for us to go around without our wedding ring sometimes. Watching you and your responsible nature does something to women. Oh snap. Oh
That's
snap.
a whole fact.
Let me even say this. News bulletin as I was sitting there using the restroom reading on Instagram. This is like a business week article, something like that. Women are shopping at Home Depot to meet men. What the hell has the world come to?
I just told somebody to be in there.
That
Women
is
are
pretty
shopping
damn low.
at Home Depot. So remember I told y'all about the cart cross thing that one of my sister-in-laws had to tell me, like, no, they will push their carts into your carts. They will come to the side of the store and shop, even though they already got stuff from the produce section, literally just to put their ass in the view of your face.
Bending over
That's
in
So
that's
front of
people,
you.
Look,
that's
people,
that's
can I
not
can
people.
I
all that
can I
bad,
give
man.
advice to ladies who are looking for men or potential husbands? So
That's
Bending
not
I
at
over.
teach
Walmart.
a fitness class at a rec center, and then they have leagues for basketball. And I didn't know that they had a over 35 men league that they hosted a tournament at the rec center, and these were good-looking black men. And I'm like, if I maybe I should teach a class to do a survey because there's so many women say they can't find men and they're always on these dating apps, whatnot, and the third. And I'm like, where and I'm not out like that, but the places I go to, because particularly if I do anything outside the home, it's for fitness related. Um, they're black men. They're black men in Whole Foods. They're black men in Randall's, Tom Thumb, all that good stuff. But I think what's wrong with women is that they're looking for serious minded men in the wrong places. Who you gonna find in the club? Who you gonna find in the lounge? But it's so funny that you mentioned Home Depot. Honestly, Home Depot's not a bad place to look
Right.
if you think about it. Someone who's good with their hands, someone who's a builder. But yeah, like ladies need to be more intentional. It's just about
Yeah,
being more
Do you know?
intentional.
Look,
exactly.
Coco. I
I
do
would go
not
to
know
Home
the stat.
Depot.
Just hear me out, y'all. Hear me out. I do not know the stat, but I can guarantee you, most of those men at Home Depot are married. If you got something to fix, you more than likely live in your own home or some shit. Most of those dudes are married. I'm telling you, we gotta look, we gotta smell, and
Yeah,
we always
you
like
go
walk like we got somewhere else to go or kids to pick up. I'm
Hey,
telling
Trigger,
you,
they be
you
coming
think
in
most of
dressed
the
up
people at
you
Home
go
crazy
you
too.
Depot,
you go into
huh?
Home
I
Depot and
said
getting
they.
a
I
sheet
said
of
they be
plywood
coming
and
in.
come out with a husband. I mean, with a wife. That's
Single
incredible.
dudes shop at Walmart, y'all.
No, we don't, Trigger Mike. We
Single
don't
dudes
shop at
shop at
Walmart.
Walmart.
Target is where we shop.
In fact, single dudes go to Lowe's. Go to Lowe's for the single dudes. Married men be at Home Depot. That's why them damn carts so big, so we can put our kids in there.
I was just in Home Depot,
Y'all playing around. Stop trying to get these married men at Home
and
Depot.
they
Y'all
be
let them
dressing
think y'all
crazy
slick.
in there too, looking like they just came from the club. You know.
Uh-huh.
Listen,
If you
bro,
want to know,
the
if you
Target
want to
is
know how,
wild in Maryland.
look
The
look
Target I
at
go to in Maryland is wild. It's
look
like
at
a
the
club.
brand of tool married men got. They sell them at Home Depot. Those Walmart brands be at the single dude's house. I'm telling you. All right, bet. Everybody got a chance to go on this question. All right, what is the next one? What's the next one? All right, this is a good one. I think this is a good one. So, next question up is what I want Callie Bev to go first.
Uh-oh.
Oh,
Here
I
we
gotta
go.
wait on this one.
See how she gonna terrorize us
That's the
today.
gang side. Oh my God.
What legislation should be enacted to disincentivize women from getting divorced? I want to hear your answer. What's up, Callie?
None.
Surprise,
Wow.
surprise.
Wow.
Uh,
Is that
all
your
right,
final
Callie,
answer?
Yep,
explain
that's
why
my final
everything is
answer.
good.
Because I mean they enacted the no fault stuff for a reason, right? What was the reason?
You said no fault. Somebody got to
Right.
explain that to me.
Right.
Explain
They
it to me.
started the no fault divorce thing for a reason,
Oh,
right?
yeah. I know what you're talking.
That's
What
No,
just
was the
because the
reason?
men.
Do you know? Because
That's
I
because
don't know.
yeah, well, that's because the men in the West are just like wimps. That shit should have never went through. Should have never went through. I don't know. I mean, a lot of dumb legislation goes through because it favors women. That's
yeah,
where we're
I know.
living
I know
now.
what you're talking about now. And no fault divorce is a lazy legislation. It's literally saying judges don't want to do the work of determining
Exactly.
what's actually in the best child's best interest, so they generalized it with no fault divorce. Because think about it this way: you already gave women legislative power. So if you don't want to fight with them, you just generalize legislation for them, so you don't have to everything like that, like a fault divorce or divorce fighting will crash it'll crash the court system. Anything you see generalized like that will be fought, and they'll take up all the dockets in court. So they just generalize law. That's what I think anyway. Callie decided to terrorize us. Let's go to wife school. What you got on it? What legislation should be enacted to disincentivize women from getting divorced?
This is tough. Um, they said, well, if you decide to leave on certain terms, like you forfeit all alimony, you forfeit all child support, you forfeit. Um, I don't know. Something has to be taken away because women are given so much stuff, and yeah, so maybe alimony, child support, all those things, forfeit because those are resources from the husband coming into the marriage, so we should be able to take those away. Maybe.
But that's
You said
well,
take
I would
away
say
alimony and child support.
people
Woo!
don't even get alimony though. It's only
Well,
like
yeah, the
what,
percentage of
10%?
people getting alimony is low, but
Mm.
child support is the
It ain't
biggie.
that low. It
Well,
depends on who
see,
you are. It ain't that low. Now,
and then
women
I
do
know
they be sucking men dry for that alimony. It's not that low.
for Georgia, you can't get a divorce without a child support order in place. So there's that too.
Damn.
Yeah, that's most states. Most states, the child support order is written into the divorce
Yeah, I was
decree,
going to
the
say it is
solution.
written. It's like automatic. It's written into law. I never hope to find out. Jesus help me.
I got to think
CEO.
about that one more.
In fact, I'm my
I
bad.
don't.
I
I
went to the
don't.
new.
I don't have to think about it at all.
Y'all give me 1
Who's that,
second. I
Trey?
went
I
to the new
know
topic
you.
without reading my super chats. Let's read these super chats. Jonathan Barronville, $5. That feeling when Auntie is on Facebook after leaving her marriage, talking about how happy she is, but you're watching Auntie become a lonely alcoholic. That is fact. Yo, it be that first Thanksgiving and Christmas where she doing what Tia Mowry doing, where she's trying to stay ahead of the narrative, right? She's trying to create the narrative like, I'm good. This is gonna let those next holidays come. Let those next holidays come. See if she's still talking that same stuff. All right. Clement Gray, $5. That Jezebel spirit is wide and rampant among our sisters concerning marriage. Any other excuse will do as long as they don't submit to that husband. That is facts. Clement Gray, $5. Let's talk about wives refuse to have sex in marriage and come up with their it's mental, etc. And you have husbands not having sex. And they stay. That is such a common thing happening, and the men still stay. Thank you for the $5 super chat. Peace and growth. Thank you so much for your support. My man Charles Hubbard, $5 says, no child support or alimony unless there is proven abuse. Ooh, he on my train here. This is hey, chat, make sure y'all put in your answers. We're gonna read some of these. What legislation should be enacted to disincentivize women from getting divorced? All right, we're gonna go to Sparkle. What's going on, Sparkle? Get this
Good
UK energy in here.
evening. Oh, good
It's
morning to you.
afternoon here. You can keep that
Or
even stuff
afternoon.
over there.
Okay, what legislation? Maybe it should be harder to get married in the first place, in my opinion. But I would say, I think the child support one's a big one. I think if legislation was put in place to say that the custody is automatically 50-50 if you divorce, and that she's not entitled to a payoff, that might encourage a lot of women to work through it. I think that when it comes to divorce, people, this whole no-fault divorce thing is crazy. Finances being the main reason for a lot of women is insane. I mean, did they not take the vow for richer, for poorer? I feel like if you take vows, you're supposed to take them seriously. It's not just about having a wedding and a dress and a ring. What are you married for? But I think ultimately the child support, it should be automatic 50-50 unless there's proven violence or abuse.
I want to piggyback off of Sparkle. You just made me think of something so awesome. And I think women would not get a divorce if you make a legislation that the father gets full custody, because you know how hard we're tied to our children. So more than likely, we'll sit down because we don't want to lose to him getting our kids. Thank you, Sparkle.
That's interesting.
I can go
real quick. I have one thing. Two things. First of all, if you get rid of irreconcilable differences and financial reasons and say that those aren't reasons for divorce, that would de-incentivize a lot of the divorces. Got to get rid of irreconcilable differences. I don't even know I don't even know how that works in a marriage. The other part of this too is we talk about child support as if you only get child support if you're married. You don't need to be married to get child support. So the child support has nothing to do with the marriage. And for me, the last thing here is if you want to disincentivize women from getting divorced, you have to put the prenup as a part of the marriage from the very beginning, regardless of who has assets and who doesn't. You put that in place from the very beginning, and in that prenup, you write in a no alimony clause from the very beginning. So she knows if she gets divorced, she's not going to get a dime. You write that in from the very beginning, and we'll see how many divorces we actually have. If we start to put a lot of these things in the forefront from the beginning and give people opportunities to make choices, we'll get different outcomes. But a lot of the times we don't do that. We put everything in the back end, and that's why we have some of the chaos we have.
I think
Uh,
what so is needed
go
is that
ahead.
we need more proof of accusations that get thrown around. Because back in the day, if you wanted to get divorced, like, let's say you said that you wanted to be divorced under the grounds of adultery, you had to not only just say, "Oh, I was cheated on." You have to, you'd have to bring your partner and the person they were cheating on. You'd have to prove this, like, because a lot of women like to throw around accusations of being abused, and when you get down to it, it's, "Oh, he spoke to me how I didn't like," or whatever. Like, there's a lot of these terms are thrown around very loosely, and I feel like we should have to provide a bit more evidence in order to put forward divorce. But I just think, like I said, from the jump, it should be harder to get married. I think too many people get married to have a wedding day and a dress. You should really be taking this thing seriously. When you take vows, you're not just making empty promises. That's supposed to be the ultimate promise you make. And your family and God and everybody's going to keep you accountable for those things. You said that in front of everybody you love and God. That's what marriage is supposed to be. But too many people take it as an expensive party that's all about their my day, my day. It's all about the bride. It's never about the husband and wife. It's always her, her, her. And throughout the whole marriage, many women keep that thought process. It's me, me, me. They don't think about the fact that being married is a responsibility. I mean, before I got married, I really thought about it and I realized I'm no longer number one in my life once I'm married. My husband comes first and then me. And women have to make that mind switch. It's not just you anymore. You're now in a team, in a partnership, and your husband's running things. And too many women have this me, me, me. And it's a shame because even the wedding industry promotes that. It's the bride's day. It's the bride, the bride, the bride, the bride. And they carry that through into their marriage.
Let me. I want to take it a step further. Actually, I think that the women should be mandated to return up to 25% of everything that man has done for that woman for the last 10 years. They should garnish her wages for the rest of her life until she has returned that 25% for wasting that man's money and his time and his investment.
Who keeping those books, King Smart? Who keeping those books? The man or the
We
woman?
gonna we gonna do what we gonna do an average. We gonna have a lawyer come in and pull
Understood.
out
Understood.
pull out everything,
I
pull out
like
the
that, King.
vacations, and we gonna get a good number, a working number.
You know what? Going off of that, what we could do is flip what the old thing was. You remember back in the day, a woman's father used to pay. Sorry, the man. There was a dowry exchange for the bride. Maybe the dowry needs to be put forward to the husband. Maybe a woman needs to pay for the husband's hand.
Now we
Oh,
talking. Now we
it's about
I
to
talking,
don't know
be
if a
Sparkle.
dowry
men are about
was
to be that rare.
Hey,
Marriageable men are about to be
It's
that
it's
I
rare.
Everything's gonna
like
be low
Sparkle. That's a
budget.
good
That's what it's
idea.
gonna be. They're gonna be so
so,
cheap.
so
but to be in reality, when it comes to the legislation, for divorce, it varies by each state. Southern states tend to, you have to wait at least 6 months, a year before you can go through a divorce. And so I couldn't speak specifically because divorce is not a federal, at least in the US, it's not a federal mandated law. It is handled by state, and it does vary from state to state. Now, I think more than just legislation, because again, the state makes money off of divorce, or really more money off of child
child
support,
support.
because there's not that many people still divorced. I mean, still married. It's very few percentage, and particularly for the Black community, we can't speak to whites and Hispanics because people get married by double the rate of Black people. But what I can say from a societal view is that changing it really started with the indoctrination of Disney, this princess, this fairy tale type of fantasy that has been stowed to young girls from the beginning. So when you are brought up in a society that shows that marriage is not about hard work, or that relationships are not about work, but relationships about pleasure, relationships about you're indulging, relationships about feeling the best ever. And then when that doesn't meet up to who you meet with, then there's that conflict internally, but because you have society saying that no, marriage, this is what marriage is supposed to be. So if it's not this, then you're going to have to get a divorce because that's not what we're setting you up for. And that has to change in terms of the mindset of what marriage is for. I think that you'll get a better impact culturally if that communication starts in middle high school to talk about what is relationships, because we talk at and around things, you don't talk directly about things, and that's what messes people up when it comes to relationships. So in terms of legislation, I mean, that is kind of like a fairy tale too. Oh, because the state makes money off of it, and the state is slow to move to change something that has been implemented for a period of time. I mean, we all know Social Security is going to go broke, but you think they're going to change it because how many entitlements people have about it? No. So until that pot runs dry, that's when something else might be looked around. But government in general, people, institutions are slow to move and slow to act.
Does the state
Well,
make more marriage
Let
or
everybody
divorce?
get a chance.
well, that's
They make
so. Let me just.
they make more off of that's actually a weird question. That's actually a perfect question, actually. So what's going to happen, and the reason why Coco is 100% correct, is Sparkle asked, does the state make more money off of marriage or divorce? Nobody can ever make, the state loses more money on divorce than it does, because the American economy, let's say, is actually built on the American mortgage. Okay, married people buy homes.
Yes.
So that is what the American economy is based off of. It's only the fact that there are these slush funds and government funds and state funds built on judges with the divorce court. So, it's a direct source of money in child support and divorce. But the American economy itself is built off of marriage. Married people taking care of their own kids. If you look at how much it costs each individual state and the government to fund schools and fund programs and entitlements for people because they never got together, it costs them trillions more than it does in the divorce. People not being married cost them trillions. So marriage is always going to be what's best for any particular country. It's supposed to be mom and dad in the house taking care of those children so the government doesn't have to. The second that kid or that woman becomes expense to the government, it'll always be to the detriment of society in general.
So finance isn't the issue then, it's the agenda of breaking down the family
Exactly.
and keeping the father out of the house.
Yep.
That's why they got to get rid of that no-fault divorce. At one point, you had to have a reason to get divorced, and a judge could deny you a divorce.
Mm-hmm.
They don't do that anymore, right? They used
All
to
right.
they used to be able to
Yep.
say, nope, you can't get divorced because you don't have a good enough reason, and you
All right.
can't come in there.
Yep.
Go
So
ahead,
I'm
go
gonna
ahead.
give my answer on this because I'm just dying. Y'all always take the good answer before I can say them.
Go ahead.
Men. So I think Trey made a good point where you don't have to be married to get involved in the court system in that way. But just as much as we can disincentivize women not to divorce, we can also incentivize people to get married with certain legislation. So I kind of take it to that area. I think men should designate where child support goes. It does not go to the woman at all. They
I
gonna
was
have
just
a
about to
field day.
say
Like, let
that.
me tell you, I believe that women use not only divorce, but the child and the children as control. They use it as control. Take away their ability to control, and all of this bullshit stops. So that's why I think the legislation is coming sooner than later, because white men are talking about it now. It doesn't affect nobody until it affects white men. You got to look up this Texas coalition of really powerful white men, and some of them are legislators whose wives took them to the cleaners and they not having it. They got they getting money from all different type of sources, and of course, what is happening at a state level as big as Texas is going to start happening naturally. So take away the woman's ability to control where the child support goes. My second one is mandatory custody for the father at age 9, half. If they're going to lose that child completely, because that is actual evidence, right? Children suffer without their father They are at risk for poverty, developing substantive relationships, behavioral disorders, all of that. They're at risk for all of that without their dad. And it's not just women raising children. It's actually, in my opinion, women raising teenagers. You can't control that boy or girl. You can't without their father involved. Put a 1 in the chat if you believe moms cannot control teenage boys. This is why these boys are running amok. If you want to make it fair, halftime, you going to your daddy's house. This has been planned. The government has legislated it. Send that boy to his daddy's house. Send that girl to her daddy's house to be raised for the rest of their child life. All right. Moms cannot control teenage kids. That's why the kids act the way they do. Daddies are out here saying, look, you know how many kids, teenage boy I've seen get punched, not hit, punched in the face by their daddy. I'm not condoning abuse, but swell up on your daddy one good time. Or get that jaw rocked. I'm just saying. We're not advocating for none of that. But y'all know what I'm saying.
Yep.
Daddies ain't having none of that shit. And this is the last one. And this is kind of a joke, but I'm still going to say it. Getting divorced should be on your credit. If you go get divorced, there needs to be, because let me tell you, like I said, you're actually at risk. If you get divorced, you do it into financial ruin. They already, there's a group of people that get divorced that have to file for bankruptcy. So a bank shouldn't take on more risk for you if you're a divorced person. These are the things that make people think before they act. That's all I'm trying to get done. It's not even to be funny. Women got to understand that there's a substantial group of women ruining their homes for the purposes of control. They will stop doing that if you take away their ability to do it without consequence. Put it on their credit score. Divorced woman, high risk. Why did she leave? Irreconcilable differences, not a good enough reason. Bad credit, instantly, 200. All right,
that's a good idea, Trigger Mike, because non-payment of child support can go on your credit.
Yep, there you go. It all makes sense.
And they get locked up too. They don't pay it.
Yep. I mean, shoot, we're not even asking them to lock up women. At least you can get bad credit behind it. All right. Who's next? Chris, you went on this? Or CEO? Go ahead.
He can go.
I just want to explain the philosophy behind it. It's like, societies or communities are built upon, the households. So basically, when you look at a nation or a community or a society, like the households, the marriages are like the infrastructure, they're the foundation. You know what I'm saying? So when you just think that you can just, for no reason or for silly reasons, separate that, it's a threat to the overall community and things. So I think that once a woman does a divorce, she should, kind of like the credit thing, she should be marked, and she should never be able to enter into a marriage ever again. Like from now on, the best that she can get is lifetime partners or something, you know what I'm saying, extensive relationships, but she should never be able to enter into the sanctity of the marriage, because the very marriage in the vows says till life do us part. So that shows you don't respect the whole institution of marriage. You lie, you know what I'm saying? So the next man who marries you is saying till death to us part with somebody he knows is a fucking liar. Like, you don't mean that shit. You've had a divorce before, so don't even say the bullshit, So they just shouldn't be able to enter into a marriage ever again, at least until, I don't know, there should be an extensive period of time where she's had to be with the person, like 7 years, 8 years or something like that. But honestly, a person like me, I'm big on honor. I'm big on dedication, loyalty and stuff. And if you came into me and we made a pact and said, bad boys for life, and then we got into a small argument and the bad boys was over, you should never be able to ever shake hands with nobody else and say those words, bad boy for life. You full of shit. You already proved you ain't real like that. That's all I got to say.
Yeah, I was going to say, for me, it's just real simple. Whatever is not in your name, leave it alone. I don't care how long you've been married. I don't care how much assets you guys were able to obtain. If your name's not on it, it's not for you to take. So go ahead, exit, be on your merry way. As far as the children goes, go give it to the parent who has a better odds for the children's success. It's a small sample size. Sorry, ladies, but single fathers have better success rate for the children. And as far as child support go, the government needs to start label things that is um, child support worthy. What does that mean? That means you going on a girls trip is not child support worthy. You spending money on your sex. Let me not go there. Basically, that too. Just like certain foods, clothing, and that type of stuff should go under the registry of this what needs to be designated for to receive child support funding. Anything else, decline, and everything needs to go on a particular card. So that way, once you try to ring out that money elsewhere, it'll automatically decline. And every time it
Yeah, it's like a
declines,
FHA, FSA type of thing.
right, and if it declines, it will keep track of how many times it got declined. You're gonna have to answer for that, and the risk of the children going back to the father. Just my thoughts.
I actually think there's some states that's actually working on that. I think they're working on having a credit card where it has like, excuse me, a card where it has restrictions on where she can actually use the money. And I think, going to go get crab legs, which I saw where I worked in D.C. That's what I saw all the time. Was going to go get crab legs. It was not a part of a child support. I don't know how that works, especially when the kid doesn't even eat seafood. So I don't know how that works. But yeah, I
I
think they're
heard
working
about
on.
that
I
credit
think they're
card.
working on that. Yeah, I think they're
I
working
heard
on it.
about that too. And men just need to stand up. I mean, there's a lot of bad things in the legislation. I don't know how it gets passed through. Women are clamoring to be equal, and it's time for them to take the full measure of equality. I mean, that's where we need to go. The closer we can get to that, the better it will be for all of us in society. But there's too many incentives to have broken families. And states cling to money. If they can have men pay money for the states under threat of jail, they're not. It's not going to be that easy to get. Why would jail be attached to that shit in the first place? Just think about it. A man owes child support. You put him in jail now. Nobody gets shit, and he costs the state money. To put somebody in jail, you got to get three hots in a cot. How much does that cost? And for how long? And then once a guy's in jail, his life is pretty much, tagged forever. So it's just some crazy shit. So the system is just broken. It's just broken.
I like to add to that, Mr. Payne. It's very broken, especially with that jail situation, because I had a situation where uh my child's mother brought a suit or whatever against me,
Hmm.
but they started the child support while I was in jail. So it was like I got 13 months before I come home, right? But I gotta pay $500 a month.
Oh,
So
gee,
by the time I get home,
you already owe.
before I'm $7,000 in the hole before you know what I'm saying. It was
It's
crazy. It was
ridiculous. I mean,
like
it's ridiculous.
King
it
Spark,
just didn't make any sense.
I can't tell you how many guys I would be doing traffic stops, and when we pull up everything, it comes up on the traffic stop whether or not you have a warrant. And I would. Luckily, most of the cases they were out of town, so I didn't have any jurisdiction. But I would go back up to the guy and I would say, "Hey, man, do you know you got a warrant?" And he'd be like, "Nah." I'd be like, "Bro, you got a child support warrant from Georgia. You got a child support warrant from New Jersey. Like, you need to go take care of that. You know what I mean? Like, you need to go handle that because I don't want you going back to your home state thinking you good and you driving around and you get pulled over and you're going to jail that night back in your home state. Nothing I can do here, but I want to let you know because a lot of guys they don't even know. I know guys who the warrants and stuff were sent to their old address. They have no clue that they could be arrested. It's one of the things I got offered to work that department. I turned it down. It's a horrible system. It's a horrible system.
And they should definitely make sure that the like everybody's saying that the money goes towards the child. So when it comes time for school clothes or whatever, the man should be able to go grab school clothes, go get whatever shoes, whatever the child needs should be child support. Period. And
I actually
it
knew
should come
someone who
like that.
I knew someone who did that. Obviously I'm not going to name names, but there was a woman that I knew who was trying to weaponize their child, right, for money and such. And the father was like, I don't want to give you money for you to go out with your girls and do this, that, and the third. He was like, if you need nappies, milk, sorry, diapers, you guys say, milk, clothes, whatever, let me get all of that. I'll give you the goods. I don't want to give you the cash, though, because I don't know where the cash is going. Like, because unfortunately, there is a lot of women, some of it will go to groceries or whatever, but you're buying your makeup with it, you're getting your weave with it and whatever. Like, men aren't stupid. You guys know all of that. I almost feel like, I don't know, maybe there should be some sort of test or exam that has to be done before people even allowed to get married. Really, truly, divorce should always be the last resort to the end of a relationship. Everything else should be exhausted first, from counseling to family intervention, wherever it is. Divorce should always be the last resort. Too many people jump to it as the first resort the minute things are a little bit hairy and a little bit difficult. But at the end of the day, relationships are like seasons. It's not always strawberries and sunshine. Sometimes it's thunder and hailstorms and it's drama, and it's not always going to be fun and games. And that's the whole point of marriage, to work through all of that. But unfortunately, children are often caught in the crossfire and used as battering rams for people to get what they want. And all that does is abuse the children and mess them up mentally anyway. And like you were saying about sending guys to jail. So if a guy is in jail for not paying child support, not only is there no finances coming through, but there's also time now, quality time, taken away from him with his child. So no one's benefiting in any way, shape, or form with that system. That's just crazy.
Indeed. Everybody got a chance to go?
Well, I mean, she wasn't getting none anyway, right? That's the reason why he locked up?
No, that's not
true.
Not necessarily. Because he might be coming to see the child. He might be bringing the child wherever provisions is needed, rather than giving the money to the mother via cash. He might be putting, gas in her car or buying groceries. He might be doing all the stuff required, but because there's no paper trail, she can now.
That's the man's fault.
And Sparkle,
let's
let's be real here. The arrest is for contempt of court. You're not following. That's what you're being arrested for. You're being arrested because you didn't do what the judge told you to do, which was to give this person a certain amount of money. That's what you're being arrested for. And once you reach a certain threshold, that's when the warrants go out for your arrest.
Let me tell you, this is why, I mean, naturally, we got to stop this narrative, because let me tell you something. The reason why we have such a terrible narrative of men against the statistics that actually exist is because we let women control the narrative. Of course, women are going to say men don't do this, men don't do that. But when you actually look at the statistics and say most men do pay their child support on time, and do other extra things for their children and spend time with their children, you realize that all of this goes to shit when you let women control the show. That's it. So that's why my ultimate goal is to say, take control from them and watch it. If you want people to stop missing visitation, give the custody to fathers. Watch visitation stop getting missed. It's only used as a form of control over the dad. That's it. So when you disincentivize control, things can happen more smoothly. I cannot tell you how many stories we've heard, because we also got to understand that most dual parenting, or what is it called, joint parenting situations, don't involve the court. So it involves a man giving money to the woman, and then she gets upset that he got a new girlfriend, puts him on child support. Now he owes back child support, right? So there are tons of different situations in which we need to stop, just take out control from the woman from doing things to a man so she can control the narrative, right? That's
When
the
you say
only
just
reason why
take
the
out,
world.
you make it sound too easy, right? Because women make up a lot of the voting public. They talk all this horse crap about, equality, but the polls say something different, right? So there's all this always going on. It's not that easy to change laws, but
Yeah.
The Western man, considered mostly the white guys, right, have allowed, feminism and women to just run roughshod, right? I mean, these guys conquer lands and everything, but most of them turn out to be kind of like simps. right? Why is the laws the way it is right now? Should have
They're
never
simp.
got this far.
Like Bernie
Never.
Sanders is a simp.
Okay, but here's the thing, right? If we're supposed to have everything equal, if a man can face jail time in the States for not paying child support, why can't a woman face jail time for preventing a father from having access?
Almost never. No, it's almost never.
Because a lot of women
He has to go to court.
So
He got to
the
go to
laws.
court for that.
So here's the thing: the
It's
laws
still
have
not
not caught
enforced.
up. Yeah, the laws have not caught up with the state of the economy. Basically, how the hell is it that men are going to jail for this, but women are in the workforce more than men? Like, you got to understand that everything equality wise, what I'm asking for is actual equality, right? Men go to jail, women go to jail. Women can get 50% chance they get it. Men get 50% they get custody. If we start giving women exactly what they're asking for, boy, this shit gonna change, right? So give equal opportunity for the kid, especially when they use the term best interest of the child. At least 50% of dads will have custody of their kid.
But Mike,
But
when you keep saying give, right? The point is we need to put legislation out there to change the laws. Who's the champion? It's not going to be the Democrats. I can tell you that right now.
Oh no, it's not.
They're not. It's not going to be them.
It's
It's
not. And,
the Republicans might look at that, but somebody's got to stand up and say, "Okay, here's my plank. I'm running for this legislation and that legislation."
Well, this
and
is
has to
actually
be
who
on
I
the
think
plank.
is going to be. This is who I think is going to be, because I don't think it's actually going to work in the medium of things right now. I believe we've almost hit the fever pitch. Right, everybody's tired of the woman's liberal agenda. Even women, even other women are now saying, I don't know if y'all noticed, and unfortunately, I had to watch this, and no black woman was on the panel. They have whole women panels with 10,000 people watching of women apologizing to men for taking
I
part
saw
in the
that.
feminine movement. So when we say this stuff ain't working, it's working. These women are getting on the right side of it, right? They were like, I'm sorry for what I've done. I
got
did
a
not
link to that?
realize the media was controlling me. So, like, I'm
Trigger
so
Mike,
sorry
that was
for this.
incredible to watch. I saw
That was
that.
dog. Do you know I shed a tear because no black woman was on that damn panel, bro?
Not one. It was 10. It was 10 women, not one black woman.
Not one
Can
black
someone
woman.
drop a link to that in the panel? Because I need to see
Damn.
that.
If Mr. He said, go watch when it's called Harris Tribe Media Group. I did an interview with them and he played the clip, and then I went to find the clip myself. But if I find it, I'm gonna send it out to y'all. But Harris Tribe Media Group, go subscribe to them. It's Mr. and Mrs. He said and she said. They did an interview with me and they played that during that. Women apologizing for men for taking part in the feminist movement. And like, we did not realize we were being controlled and we're sorry for all this BS. So now that I think it's going to be a black Republican male, let's just be a black conservative male candidate or a female black women conservative candidate that's going to bring this home. Because if you look at like Margaret Thatcher was an old, like from the UK. This lady hated feminist women, right? She was more pro-man than everybody. Pull yourself up by your bootstraps. Stop complaining. You don't deserve anything because you women. It needs to be a woman like that. I think the lieutenant governor of Virginia right now, she's like that. That woman run for president.
You sure she ain't a chameleon, man? I don't know, man. I swear, man. I see a black woman up there, man. I'd be scared as hell, man. I'm telling you.
No. But you got to understand their entire platform.
Somebody like that, you know?
Yeah, you got to understand their entire platform. But I think it's also going to take black men to stop simping. Black men are not traditionally conservative. I'm sorry. They are traditionally conservative. They are not liberals. Search your soul. Search what you want for your children. You are not a liberal. Stop voting for that shit. Exactly. Look at what you want for your family and stop letting that woman control the narrative in your house. You ain't no damn Democrat. Look at what you want for your family. You ain't no Democrat. So who said it? I think it was Mr. Rich that said it. Trump is, or somebody going to come out now. It's going to be Ron DeSantis. They're going to be like, we want our children back. Right. Stop teaching them LGBT in school. Stop all this stuff. Who you think dad's going to vote for?
Hey man, what platform? You know, it's funny because I did that, divesting from the Democratic Party. That's on my page. I got a whole content on that one. Yep. Yeah, it's one of the biggest mistakes that black people have made. And let me tell you, if we men leave the Democratic Party, we're gonna fight with our women over that too, because their whole being, black women, is being all the incentives that the Democrats give them. And they, so it's going to be tough, but we need to break away. You saw what happened with Tracy Abrams and that kind of stuff. Only 85% of black men voted for it. That's still a lot, and I think that was more than she deserved. Anyway,
I
but
don't
that's another story.
I don't see why black people aren't offended by what the Democratic Party does.
Me either.
Like when election time comes out, they'll go grab an athlete or an entertainer to tell me who to vote for. Like, are you
Cardi
serious?
B, bro. This is what they think of black people, bro.
That's so
They went and
insulting.
got
Like,
Cardi B.
that's the most insulting thing
They went and
ever.
got Lil Baby.
I
Like,
mean,
this fool got a
perhaps
good jump shot. I
They
don't
went
care
and got
about.
Lil Baby.
Like, what?
look, because I don't care. Like the same way that I get offended by what some Republicans say is the same way I get offended by what some Democrats say. I don't care. You can say
You
what you
should
want.
care. You should care.
What does that policy look like?
It's not about what they're saying. It's about how feeble-minded that they think we are to even they have that affect us. Like a dude who shoots a jump shot, that's great. I'm not gonna let you sway the way that
Hmm.
I live my life as a whole. Like to
Yeah,
even
and
think
Republicans do the
that
same thing, so it don't even matter. They play identity politics just as much as the Democrats do. Democrats are just more open with it and just more in your face with it. But they play identity politics too. That's why I don't political set trip. It don't even matter. They do the same shit.
well,
Indeed.
I don't
Noah
like
Bell
either of
says
them. You know what I'm saying?
a man lit himself on fire on the courthouse steps in New Hampshire in protest. Nothing has changed significantly since then. That if that didn't put eyes on the issue, nothing will. No, I don't think it's an overnight change. I think you need to see it to believe it and continue to see it. It's never a one occurrence type thing, right? So I look at the progression of things. Now I want y'all to remember, like, go back to these videos in like 2017 and look at the conversations we were having. We were simply saying men are the leaders of the family, and women were giving us pushback. Men aren't the leaders, we're equals. I stand beside you, not behind you. Now women are saying, well, since y'all are the leaders, why can't you blank? This is how you progress along society. They know, and they've been shown through their own behavior. This is why Kevin Samuel is so important. That's why I don't really allow KS slander, because people say he talked blank about black women. No. You watch the format of his show. He let y'all say it. He didn't say it. He let y'all say it. For the first time, most women in America, especially black women, saw for the first time that y'all are the ones with the delusions. He didn't put those delusions on y'all. Y'all was saying this shit out of your own mouth. The delusions out of your own mouth. So now that you got them checked and corrected, we can start to make progress. So that's why I liked his program so much. I mean, I used to be in the background like, she didn't just say that. She didn't just say that.
Yeah,
That's
some
crazy.
people don't think that was just natural occurrence that he's gone. Some people think there might be some nefarious stuff that went on.
Nah, he had health problems.
That Red Bull, huh?
He's a two-time cancer survivor. Look, the way I think it was poetic, the way he went out. That man had been on YouTube for years, right? All of that stuff. He came back and skyrocketed to the prominence. Basically set all this stuff. He set the Trigger Mike show. I'm going to just say he set the Trigger Mike show in motion. And then maybe he was supposed to leave 2 years before that. And it was like, I'm going to use you. I'm going to get this out. And then he passed. But everything he did, in fact, he's more popular now that he passed. I can't scroll Instagram without seeing a KS post. I can't scroll. So I think that God used him in that way. We all use God I think God used him in that way.
Trigger Mike, you too old to have a YouTube, daddy. Come on now.
No, we all got mentors. We all got people we look up to. No, this is important. This is important because I'm new. I'm actually new to YouTube. All right. And the way I skyrocketed to where I'm at now is because I know how to accept mentorship. I was on here studying Anton. I was on here studying Angry Man. I was on here studying Fight Club and Lapeef. And now look. So if that's YouTube daddy, well, shit.
Did somebody shame you for looking up to people who have a successful blueprint and you wanted to somewhat apply to your lifestyle, did somebody shame you for that? Or am I tripping?
Relationship advice, yeah, I would if that, but he distinctly said it was about how to his platform for his show. Why my dress going the wrong way?
Because you tripping, that's why.
That's
Like
because
you
you
be
want
tripping.
that's
I'll say Kevin
Yeah,
Samuels saved a lot of
relationship
Kevin
advice,
Samuels
nah.
saved.
I wouldn't be looking for nobody's relationship advice off no daggone internet.
You know
I
what
tell you
though?
what,
Let me say this because Callie Bev, you make a point that I want to stress. Go on my Instagram page and you'll see it says perspectives, not advice. There's too much advice going on. You're right. Too much fake advice from non-clinical professionals and people that don't know what the hell they talking about. What's missing from the lives of most people, especially black people, is the perspective of somebody lived experience. Every time Mr. Rich come on here, he tells you and prefaces it before he says it, I've been married for 35 years. A lot of people have never experienced that. A lot of people don't get the perspective of somebody who did something like that. So that's why this perspective is necessary. In fact, even the people that say the most outlandish shit on this broadcast, their perspective is welcome. My man King Spark said, simp with the iron fist. And somebody needed to hear that. He said that out loud. Somebody needed to hear that.
Yeah,
No matter
so
what
I
we
heard
thought
that
about
last
it.
week. I was like, what is
That
this
is
dude
his
smoking?
perspective. They need to hear us combat that. They need to hear us dialogue about it.
And
All right.
also,
So that's why I think these spaces are important.
and real quick,
I tell you what though about.
real quick, I have to
Go
say
ahead,
this.
go ahead.
If you're not providing something on YouTube, what the hell you here for anyway? Go ahead, chill in the chat like everybody else. Our reason why I'm on YouTube because I have something to offer to the world to fill in the void. Kevin Samuels did that. Lapeef is doing that. Trigger Mike is doing that. I'm doing that. So yeah, if you hear us say something and it's gonna make your life better, I appreciate it. Take care and run with it.
Well, for some people, it's cathartic. This is therapy for some people, and everybody's a little bit different.
This is actually growth
I agree. That's still
right here.
something.
This is growth. This is, I mean, even just watching intellectuals have a conversation is going to do you a whole lot better than tuning into some fantasy program. Some, it's just a whole lot better. It's a whole lot better for everybody. And the thing about KS is, I believe he saved a lot of black men from jumping off a bridge.
That's
Because
so
before
Facts.
welcome.
Facts.
KS, I thought I was tripping. I really thought I was tripping with myself because I was dating these women. I was looking for a girlfriend. I'm running into a 45-year-old woman. I'm thinking, man, I take her on a few dates and everything it'll be cool. And she talking to me about helping her pay off her debt. I'm like, you 45. Like, but anyway, I digress.
And let
So
me
we're gonna
throw
go
this out.
around.
Let me throw this
Go
out
ahead.
at you too, real quick. You know, when the women come up on this channel, Trigger Mike, it adds something to the show, even if they're contrary.
Yeah,
You
it does.
know, I mean,
Mhm.
I appreciate that. You know, because you know sometimes it's good to hear foolishness. But I'm only joking. But you know, but the point is that you know everybody has their perspective, whether you agree with it or not. It's good to be voiced. You know, Kelly Biv is talking all this shit, but she got a whole husband and
A
you know,
whole husband out
a
here.
whole husband, and I don't think he's a simp. I think when this camera goes off, she does what he needs to get done. She's just
Thank
talking shit
you.
to us,
She
you
leaves.
know.
She leaves sometimes when he
Yeah,
comes. She'll be like,
yeah.
"Oh shit,
So
oh."
you know, so I mean, you know, I mean that's just me. I don't know her life situation, but I think she's front. But
Listen,
perspectives is still good.
listen. Let me tell you how. Let me tell you how much I believe that to be true. There was a lady at work, and everybody swore she was just the biggest headache and all of this. And at the company Christmas party, everybody was like, "Oh, well, you know, the ladies were like, look at her husband. Damn, she married. Who would marry her? She's so damn mean. She this, that, and the third." And I just kind of looked at all of them as like, he don't think she's that, and she don't behave that way around him. I was like, she like that at work. She a pit bull at work. I was like, you know how many women I know like that?
Yeah, I
This woman,
swear.
look, the only woman in the building when they said food is served, dinner is served, got up and got her man a plate. Other than my wife, I'm sorry. The only other woman in there that went up and got her man a plate is y'all. This is what y'all think. She don't treat him like that. That's her man. That's crazy to me that women don't understand that, all of that stuff that women do outside of the presence of their husband is them playing a character. That is not the woman this man married. She go home, she probably the most dainty. What can I get for you, dear? Type. That's how I know him to be. I watch Callie Bev rush off the camera when her husband come in. Like, all right, y'all. I see y'all later.
Don't worry. It's my experience that I peeped you out there, Kelly Beth.
I still gotta respect him. He want me to get off, I gotta get off, right? That don't mean shit.
We know.
One of us tell you to get off, you be cursing us out. If one of us,
I wouldn't curse unless I'm getting that same energy. But nah, what you gonna call it? I just
that's a
look.
speech.
All right, let's
I
go
believe
around.
everything that come out of my mouth. I'm 100 about it. I believe it.
All right.
As long as he don't hear it, he don't watch the show. That's fine.
So what's next, Trigger Mike?
All right, we got final thoughts. We're gonna start with CEO and go around. How do divorce and breakups hurt the community? Let's go about 30 seconds.
Like I said, just being a nation builder and understanding that the foundation to a nation, a society, a community, a population of people is the relationship between man and woman. It's the individual households. So when you have a society that's not really honoring those vows, it's not really cherishing and honoring the union between man and woman, you have a society that doesn't really care about its own stability. You know what I'm saying? And as long as those relationships are not honored and valued, coming together is not respected, you know what I'm saying, that population itself is always unstable. It can't even trust itself.
All right, nice, good stuff. King Spark, final thoughts. How do divorce and breakups hurt the community?
I believe it totally just devalues the connection between men and women. And I wanted to say this as well, especially for the women that break up with that divorce their guys over stepping out. I want you to think, where after you divorce your man from stepping out, who are you stepping out to? The next dude that you sleep with would have been slept with whoever he wanted to sleep with for the whole time you was married. So are you really stepping into anything better? Just something to think about.
Indeed. Callie Bev, how do divorce and breakups hurt the community? Watch her say they don't.
Haha. What you gonna call it? I would say it provides less examples for others, for the following generation to look up to and what a healthy marriage actually looks like. It provides, it gives a sense of normalcy as far as broken homes. If everybody around you is all, have two separate houses and everything, creates some kind of normalcy for that. I don't think that's necessarily good. And yeah, then the two I can think of right off the top of my head.
Indeed. Appreciate that. Chris, how do divorce and breakups hurt the community?
You're teaching children it's okay to quit. And that's a seed that you're planting in their minds, and they're going to carry that with them for the rest of their lives. Out of all the things you're going to teach them, they're always going to remember that you quit. We didn't have to. Never mind the 3 A's of divorce that I mentioned earlier. You walked out on a situation. You decided to vacate your throne to go see what's outside the kingdom. Your kids are always going to remember that, and they're going to take that with them everywhere they go, and they're going to display that same trauma on their children, and so on and so forth. What is it called? A something curse, family curse. I forgot the word. It's slipping my mind right now. Generational curse. Generational curse. There you go.
Mm-hmm.
As a gardener, be careful what you plant in the. Be careful what you plant in your flower bed, because it might actually grow into something that's going to hurt you, and it's going to hurt the family, and it's going to be hard to reverse that situation. So think about what happens 5-10 years from now. Think about that right now, instead of when it's too late.
Indeed. Trey, your go.
Yeah.
How do divorce and breakups hurt the community?
Yeah, Chris pretty much stole what I was going to say. Listen, when you can't build a community built on quitters and people who don't want to work through the hard work. Imagine if you played on a basketball team, and every time you guys lost the game, everybody quit. Every
Yep.
time you guys lost a game, you know what? I can't do this. No, you get in the gym, you practice hard, you work hard on your drills, you figure it out, you communicate, and you get better over time. Nothing worth having is nothing was worth having that you didn't work hard to get or build. So, we got to get out of this idea that, well, this didn't make me feel good and this didn't feel comfortable, so I'm gonna quit. I don't want to do this anymore. That it's killing our community, and that's why, to me, divorces and breakups hurt the community.
To your basketball analogy, isn't it just better, even in loss, to lose with the team you came with?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yep.
These are my guys. You know that type of thing where you fight to the end and be like, this is squad right here. That bond that's built, even when you fought through it, you did everything you could do. It's like a respect that's never lost when you
Trigger.
even when you lose with the people you came with.
I've actually built better connections with teams when we were terrible. We weren't any good, but we were really good friends versus the teams that was really good. We weren't that cool. We understood our responsibilities and our roles, but I had much closer friends on teams that weren't that good because we were bonded. We were working really hard to try to get better. We just didn't have the talent.
Damn, you just brought up another question I should have asked. I guess we didn't get to it directly. How many women are leaving thinking that they can go play for a better team?
A ton.
and they don't ever, they don't achieve it. Like, even if they think they got to do with more money, more this, more that, and then he just discards them. That's what I've seen more often.
And I really want to laugh about that. That's kind of personal to the.
Damn, you thought you could go play for a better team. You thought this dude could replace me in the eyes of my children or something.
And that dude could replace me. Ha ha.
Yeah. In the words of Kevin Samuels, hey, big head. Hey, big head.
My mama did better. There's that. All of my examples, the women ended up faring better.
Oh, so. You know what? Bye.
Hey, somebody in the chat, they feelings hurt, but that's okay. I still love you though.
Yeah, it hurts.
Yeah, no, but seriously, the women don't end up better. That's the stat. The statistic says not only do they not end up better, some women end up with another child out of wedlock, right? They end up not getting married. Again, all of the circumstances basically lead to them going from married women to bitter baby mama. That's the majority of women.
And stalker.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
Alcoholic.
May I add an asterisk to my statement, please?
Just add all the answers of the world. Just let it.
The asterisk to my statement was physical and mental abuse.
Go ahead.
What'd I say?
Asterisk. You did, yeah.
Oh. Well, my little caveat would be that the women in my family, physical or mental abuse. That's why they ended up leaving. The men didn't file for divorce, the women did because of that. But outside of that, none of the women in my family just left for no damn reason.
Those are the 3 A's of divorce. That's one of the 3 A's of divorce. So yeah, we understand that.
Oh
man, my man Enter Black Dragon. I'm actually about to be out, bro.
3 A's of divorce. You named two of them. Up next time. We understand why. We don't fault them for that at all.
No. I was gonna say.
Oh, okay.
We even said it in the beginning, yes, sir. Even in the beginning, I said that most, especially if you're a part of a community, when there is serious chronic, that's why I put that word in there. I'm gonna just be real with you. I don't let women define what abuse is anymore. That y'all be calling anything abuse now. We know what abuse is as men. And if my daughter is being abused, I'm pulling her. She only got away. I'm pulling out of that house because I gave her away. Right? So I'm pulling her out of that crib, whether she's ready or not. If I see chronic abuse, right? So I don't think women have to make that case for themselves. The men in your life or the community members, so on and so forth, will make that case for you. All right, Mr. Rich, your go.
Yes, I'll leave you with this. I believe strong families are maintained through marriage, and strong marriages build communities. This is the generational ties that bind us all together. And divorce is the antithesis of that. So, the building blocks have always been there. America, besides all of its horrid past, when we got those families together, it created a nation that was like no other on this world. And now it's falling apart right before our eyes because of families being destroyed for whatever reason. So that's my outtake.
Indeed. Coco, you there? Oh, she out. All right, y'all. And I appreciate the panel today for coming up. All right, we're going to get out of here. All right, y'all. It's been another great one on the Trigger Mike Show. Thank y'all for coming through today and sharing with us on this topic. Remember, divorce is destruction. We made the case for you. Go back and watch it if you were just tuning in. Get that monologue in there. Watch it all the way through. We always appreciate your support. Please send super chats to support the Lapeef Network and the Trigger Mike Show. We appreciate any support you can give. Also, you can share this out to people on your Facebook news feed, your Instagram chat, your group chat, your WhatsApp. Please let them know that Trigger Mike Show is what you're watching at this time. Let anyone know who's considering to getting a divorce. Let them know we had married people, we had divorced people, we had people that want to get married on the panel today, talking about their experience and what they want to see. Community is a group of families, all right? Not a group of individuals. We need families, bonded, unified families in order to rebuild this thing we want to call a community, all right? So remember, tonight we have the solution on the Lapeef Experience channel. What I always need y'all to do, if you really want to show support to this network, show support to our other network, go over to the Lapeef Experience and hit that subscribe button. Hit the notification bell for tonight. The solution is on. The topic is something about black men not wanting to get married. All right, so I'm going to be on that panel as well. So if you're a Trigger Mike fan, make sure you tune in tonight. Also, what I want you to do, if you are able, go over to the Trigger Mike Show channel. I do shorts and clips for stuff that's going to be the topic on the Trigger Mike Show. Please support me. Help me get to 1,000. I'm almost there. Everybody rush over right now. Right now, go to Trigger Mike Show on YouTube. Hit subscribe and hit that bell for notifications, all right? Help me get to 1,000 subscribers. I appreciate that. As always, you can catch me here on the Lapeef Network weekday mornings. I appreciate your support. Thank y'all for having a great show. Thank you for rocking with the show. This is Trigger Mike. I'm out.